All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the October 18th, 2023 meeting of the Daytona Beach City Commission. We're delighted to have each of you with us tonight. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call?
Commissioner Reed?
Here.
Commissioner Paris?
Here.
Commissioner Strickland?
Here.
Commissioner May?
Here.
Commissioner Cantu?
Here.
Commissioner Henry? Mayor Derek L. Henry.
Here.
Okay. We are going to move on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the September 20th, 2023 City Commission meeting.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion from Commissioner Paris, second from Commissioner Strickland. All right, no questions or comments. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Now have our agenda approval. If there are any changes, our city manager will address them.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, we're adding item 6E, a presentation by Commissioner Cantu, adding item 8M, City Manager's Office Planning Board appointment for 1, add item 8N, City Manager's Office Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund distribution. The following distributions from the Fiscal Recovery Funds: Commissioner Henry, $800 for Derbyshire Community Tennis, Inc., $2,000 Wit Nest, Inc., $1,200 for Campbell Middle School Spartan Dolls Dance Team. From Commissioner Paris, $18,000 for Family Renew Community, Inc., $800 for Council on Aging of Volusia County, Inc., and we're asking that to continue item 10A to the November 1st, 2023 City Commission meeting because additional resumes have been received and we want to make sure all are provided for item 10A. That concludes the changes.
I move to accept the agenda with the said changes.
Second.
Commissioner Reed, motion. Commissioner May, second. Do we have any questions or comments? I hear none. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. We're going to move on to item number 6, which is our presentations. Our first presentation, item 6A, is a proclamation for Red Ribbon Week.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's beautiful.
Yep.
Come on down, beautiful children. Let me slide in between you. Right here. Perfect. This is a mic?
Yes.
I'm looking for something to grab a hold of. Well, we're happy to have you all with us tonight. And as a parent of 2 school-aged children, I know what a big deal Red Ribbon Week is in the schools. And we actually have a song that my children sing. They know drugs, but I won't murder their song. They won high awards for it. But the bottom line is, there's nothing like a kid who commits themselves to staying away from drugs and doing well in school. So we salute you all for being here and being a part of such a great youth organization in the community. So, in recognition of Red Ribbon Week, whereas the 2023 Red Ribbon campaign theme is Be Kind to Your Mind. Wow, love that. Say that again. Be kind to your mind. Live drug-free, which is a reminder that everyday Americans across the country make significant daily contributions to their communities by being the best they can be because they live drug-free. And whereas communities across America have been plagued by the numerous problems associated with illicit drug use and those that traffic it, and whereas there is hope in winning the war on drugs, and that hope lies in education and drug demand reduction, coupled with the hard work and determination of organizations such as the Young Marines of the Marine Corps League to foster a healthy, drug-free lifestyle. And whereas governments and community leaders know that citizen support is one of the most effective tools in the effort to reduce the use of illicit drugs in our communities. And whereas the red ribbon has been chosen as a symbol commemorating the work of Enrique Kiki Camarena, a Drug Enforcement Administration agent who was murdered in the line of duty, and represents the belief that one person can make a difference. And whereas the Red Ribbon Campaign was established by Congress in 1988 to encourage a drug-free lifestyle and involvement in drug prevention and reduction efforts. Now, therefore, I, Derek L. Henry, Mayor of the City of Daytona Beach, and on behalf of the City Commission of Daytona Beach, do hereby proclaim October 23rd through the 31st, 2023, as Red Ribbon Week in Daytona Beach. And we have a photo this way first. Okay, well, just hold it, put your hand right there. And look there. Okay. She's gonna say something? Oh, you have something to say?
No.
Oh. No? I'm sorry, Ms. Johnson.
Oh, wait, hold on. Could I go up and
Yes,
get a picture?
absolutely.
Can we get a picture? Can we get a picture?
Yes, we're gonna get a picture. She wants to give these. Please, let her, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Dude, you did it wrong. You wanna do it again? Let's try it again.
No space to go up front.
All right, here you go. Good job. Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Johnson. Are you okay? Yeah. I'm sorry. I love that. I think he's beating you up, isn't he? Well, save one for me. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, let's turn this way. Put your hand right there so I can give it to you. There you go. Thank you all. Thank you.
Everybody turn and face Miss Stacy. All over. Oh, wait. Got another camera.
All right.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, we will be there for both reasons.
All right, this way.
That way, guys.
Shake it. There you go. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it very much.
Congratulations, all of you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We're going to move on to our next presentation, 6B, which is a proclamation for Florida City Government Week.
All right, who's gonna receive this?
I'll receive it.
All right. In recognition of Florida City Government Week, whereas city government is the government closest to most citizens and the one with the most direct daily impact upon its residents. And whereas municipal government provides services and programs that enhance the quality of life for residents, making their city their home, and whereas city government is administered for and by its citizens and is dependent upon public commitment and understanding of its many responsibilities. And whereas city government officials and employees share the responsibility to pass along the understanding of public services and their benefits. And whereas Florida City Government Week offers an important opportunity for elected officials and city staff to spread the word to all citizens of Florida that they can shape and influence this branch of government. And whereas the Florida League of Cities and its member cities have joined together to teach citizens about municipal government through a variety of activities. Now, therefore, I, Derek L. Henry, Mayor of the City of Daytona Beach, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim October 16th through October 22nd, 2023 as Florida City Government Week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's that? Okay. So we're going to move on to item number 6C, which is the Public Works Department October 23 Beautification Tree Advisory Award winner. The Beautification Tree Advisory has elected Marvin Strong and James Miller for the residential award, and a member of the Beautification Tree Advisory Board will present.
Mayor Henry, members of the City Commission, Mr. Fieser. My name is Sharon Weatherholt. I live at 3 Granville Circle, and I represent Zone 1 on the Beautification Board. The Beautification Tree Advisory Board has selected Marvin Strong and James Miller at 1337 Ruthburn Road as a Residential Beautification Award winner for the month of October 2023. Marvin has been a City of Daytona resident for over 30 years and has resided at this address for 18. Marvin and James take care of their own lawn, maintenance, and beautification. The types of trees, shrubs, and plants used for the beautification include Indian hawthorn, camphor tree, windmill palm, bottle brush bush, podocarpus, beech hedge, and garden shrubs. City Commissioner Monica Paris of Zone 1 will be presenting. Okay, time. Those things keep flipping out. No, I was going.
I just want to thank you both for keeping your house so nice. I'm going to come over for some tips. I hope you don't mind. Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Monica, we're going to go around.
We're going to get a picture quickly. Okay, we're going to move on to item 6D, which is the community event presented by Mayor Derek L. Henry.
Oh, so there's no second one.
Nope.
All right, good evening. I am going to take a few moments here for a presentation to discuss the book giveaway that took place in the city of Daytona Beach last Saturday between the hours of 10 and 2 o'clock at the John H. Dickerson Center. And I want to just address, you know, some concerns, and the one thing that I don't want to happen from us as a commission or as a community is for us to lose sight of who we are and who we have been. While I certainly promoted this event and would promote it again, the bottom line is some people have, you know, taken the event and tried to, in my opinion, make it something that it wasn't meant to be, and maybe that was their opinion of it. But the bottom line is that about 8 years ago, as mayor, I decided to move away from the mayor's backpack giveaway. Each year we would give away backpacks. And I decided to move away from that and move towards more direct service to the community. And the direct service that I chose, being an educator for 32 years and believe was most important that we could make a great contribution, was through literacy. And through that, we've done a lot of different things in literacy, from you know, the mayor's literacy initiative with little children, where city manager, other members of the staff, myself, we go around the community centers, we read to the children, we make sure that the children are reading daily. I would read books, they would take quizzes on the books, things of that nature, because I believe that literacy is, you know, the most important thing that we can give children. So other things that we've done include funding Mainland High School students last year who were having trouble passing the state assessment test. So we funded tutors to go in and teach them and prepare those students. A lot of them had high GPAs, almost all of them over 3.0 GPAs, but they were not able to pass that test. So we funded that program to support them being able to pass the FSA. This year, we're funding high achievement students at Campbell. And those high achievement students are students who are slated in 8th grade to take the PSA, which is the precursor to the SAT. These are students that probably will easily get into college, but we want, because we often leave them behind and don't give them the extra support that students that come from disadvantaged backgrounds might not get. You know, I can recall, you know, my firstborn setting him up with tutors for the SAT. Well, most of these kids will never get that. Okay, so we're tutoring these kids in the PSAT, in the 8th grade, hopefully helping to give them a leg up so that they will be able to get into the best colleges and universities, which we know from their performance thus far that they're capable of. This commission has also supported literacy. As you know, last year or a few years back, we took ARPA funds and we hired basically a community specialist for education. She's doing an amazing job. She's the young lady who helped the folks over at Schneble Center to write a book, Our Children. When we did the project on the Great Debate at the Cherry Center, she sponsored that. So there's been a lot of recent discussions. So I believe that we as a commission have put our hands and our feet and our purses behind literacy. I understand there's been a lot of discussion as to whether this was, you know, our event last week was legal or illegal, or we did something that wasn't right. Well, Commissioner Paris, you know, heard from her constituents. She brought that before this commission. We discussed it. I thought that when we left that we were in agreement that this was, whether we all agreed or not, certainly not enough of us disagreed, but I didn't hear any dissonance about the event. And so I thought we were moving forward with an event that was acceptable to all of us. But that being said, even if it wasn't acceptable to all of us, I believe that I was within my purview as the mayor to be able to support this particular event. But I also believe that we were all on board. I have never gone behind this commission's back to talk to the staff about anything. You know, I may talk to the staff before I talk to you, but I have almost every single time, including this event, I came to this commission and announced it and made sure that I discussed it with you all, tried to keep you in the light of what was taking place. When the issues that Commissioner Parrish brought up were brought to my attention. Now, mind you, this organization that we were partnering with is the Florida Education Association Teachers Union. Okay? A nonprofit, nonpartisan organization. Now, whether you believe they're nonprofit and nonpartisan or not, we got a lot of organizations, I think, in our community that we would question whether they're nonpartisan. But nevertheless, it was the Florida Education Association, and they coupled themselves, partnered with the National Teachers Union, nonprofit, nonpartisan. But that being said, when you told me about the concerns, I went back to the group, told them in no uncertain terms that we want to be a part of a partisan bloodbath, because I'm not about that. You know, we don't want to have a civil war in our community or a partisan bloodbath in the community. I went a step further, despite the fact that I personally believe that parents should have the right to choose the books for their children that they want to choose. I asked them, do you have any books that are banned in Volusia County by the Volusia County school system? Mind you, the city of Daytona Beach doesn't ban books. We don't ban books in the city of Daytona Beach. But Volusia County School Board, that's their authority. No books that are on their banned book list were being brought. All of the books that were brought were said to be, in some places, a few of them may have been, such as the Amanda Gorman book. Somewhere in South Florida, someone wanted to ban that particular book. Well, okay, but it's not in Volusia County. But nevertheless, none of the books were banned in Volusia County, so we said bring the books on. 32,000 books. Now, mind you, 32,000 books of the quality of books, most of which were hardback, would cost no less than $300,000 to buy if you bought them at the bookstore. No less than that, because I checked the inserts of what the books went for by cost. There's no way that we could have funded that. So, not that we weren't asked to do anything other than really get the word out and help support the event. I decided that this should be more than just a book festival. It should be a celebration of literacy through the mayor's literacy initiative. So we decided to, I decided and staff supported to have hot dogs, drinks, bounce houses, face painting, Italian ice, and fun associated with literacy. That cost $2,500. That's what the cost was. So we executed, as we do with many other projects in the city of Daytona Beach. So I say all of that to say, and I know that I'm a bit verbose, but I think it warrants this, because we've heard a lot about this, and I don't think that it's been worthy of any negative attention. I mean, any negative attention. Because while the Florida Education Association may have some partisan tendencies, we as a city have a long history of partnering with great organizations who have similar tendencies. We do it almost every other week that we're partnering with someone. Here recently, we partnered with our fire department union, who themselves have endorsed Governor DeSantis. We fund our police chief involvement in the Florida Police Chiefs Association, as well as the National Chiefs Association. Both of those organizations have endorsed Governor DeSantis. So I say all of this to say, I would entreat us to make certain that while we operate in a partisan world, we have operated as nonpartisans, but we must operate in a world that is deeply divided and splintered. But when someone comes to us as a community with a good and grand idea, and they themselves are a good and grand member of our community, all of the organizations that I have named, I believe, are good and grand. Great. Yes, somewhat divided. Yes, somewhat splintered. Yes, from time to time, and maybe more often than not, they disagree with each other. But that should not matter, whether they agree or disagree. What should matter is, are they nonprofit? Are they nonprofit? Are they nonpartisan? By definition, whatever that standard is. And are they good for our community? And are they bringing something in our community, to our community, that is of great value? And I think that whether this particular event was good and great and grand is unassailable. It is, in my tenure as mayor, the last 11 years, I have not participated in anything that I would describe as better than this particular event. There's no way we could have gotten that bang for our buck and that excitement. And why did they partner with me? Because they knew that I had the passion to try and get, because our staff was concerned. They didn't believe that we could give away 30,000 books. It started out at 20,000, and then they said 40, and then it went back to 20, and then it was 30, and our staff, we don't think that many people are going to come. But I told them we can make it happen. And so this presentation was meant first and foremost to acknowledge the excellence of our staff, because very often they are charged by us to do things at the last minute that are difficult, that are challenging, that take great resources. And this definitely took great resources. It took a lot of energy, a lot of man and woman power, but they powered behind it. And they themselves told me over and over and over and over again, Mayor, this is the best event we've ever had. This is the best event we've ever had. Last thing, there was no mention, not last thing, but there was no mentioning of banned books. While they did bring a bus or truck that had banned books, mobile or banned book mobile on it, wasn't on city property. We went so far as to ask them, make sure you don't park that on city property. So with all of that being said, I'm saying this is that I would hope, and we're going to watch a video in just a moment, that we would continue to partner with anyone who wants to do good by our children and who are good themselves. Because we disagree about who should be our governor or who should be our president does not make us inherently bad or wrong, or make us, or it should not compel us to fight against each other or fight against a good cause. We should simply line up behind it because it's a good cause and say, on this issue, we come together. And tomorrow, when we have to fight about who we're going to elect, we'll fight about that. And then the next day, when the elections are over, we'll come together and we'll still be one city, one vision. Now, I was contacted, as I said, by an administrator from the Florida Education Association. I agreed to work with them. And so the results are as follows. Could you please? In conclusion, I have a Share Your Love of Reading initiative I would like to announce. All Daytona Beach children who went to the book giveaway to read a book are invited to email me, Mayor Henry, a video testimony about your book or experience. You will be eligible for a drawing to receive a $50 Walmart gift card during the next commission meeting. 5 winners will randomly be selected 6 p.m. November 1st commission meeting. The video should start with a name and address, testimony about the book that was read, or experience attending the book giveaway. Video should be between 1 and 2 minutes. Video should be emailed to henryderrick@codb.us. My 2 children will be participating, but if they win, I will cover the cost of their victory and choose 5 other children. Thank you for your support, and let's all continue to support literacy.
We're going to move on to item 6E, which was added to our agenda tonight, and it's a presentation by Commissioner Stacy Cantu.
Actually, it looked like the kids had a really great time, but I do have a problem, okay? First of all, let's get it straight. I am not for banned books at all, okay? It's a parent's decision. Yes, there's a few books that I question in school libraries, but they're not banned. You still can buy them, or you can go to a public library. So I just wanted to get that straight. Also, I think any organization should have the right to do whatever they want in Daytona Beach, but not on taxpayers' money. And I know we said we spent, you sponsored $2,500? Actually, it was more, because we have city employees the taxpayers pay. This flyer, I actually shared it all over, too, because I thought this was a great event, actually, a really good event. And then the last commission meeting, I know Commissioner Paris brought something up, and I'm thinking, what is she talking about? This is all I've been seeing all over. And so I get home, checking my emails after the commission meeting, and yes, I started getting some emails. And so I started digging deeper. And we masked over a national partisan event. And I do have a problem with that. MoveOn.org is actually part of that as well. There's stuff out there, I mean, we're all,
Part of
that MoveOn.org.
They weren't a part of our event.
They are part of this national band thing, yes. And if you go there, it has our Dickerson Center all over the United States, October 7th. Part of it, Ron DeSantis and MAGA Republicans have banned hundreds of books, so we're giving them out. Okay. I actually seen a video at the Dickerson Center. Could you play that, please, on YouTube?
This is part of our 10 million books that we're giving away to kids and families.
Florida leads the nation right now with over 1,400 books being banned. We're not going to let anyone turn us around and stop us from getting kids books they see themselves in, books they connect to.
All of us understand what democracy means, and banning books or challenging books really is counter to that freedom to make a choice about what books you can read or what you can teach.
This is an emotional time. Most of my classroom library is turned around backwards right now because the kids can't have access to it till they get approved. People are saying you can't do this and you can't read that. We're here, we're getting books and we're gonna read. There are people who try to stop us from reading. We will not stop.
So that's a little different story than what you showed me up there. Okay, and this is on YouTube with SPAR, and everybody knows who SPAR is. Okay, so I'm just saying there's something else that really bothers me, and why this really bothered me is because we have city day camps, okay? City day camps, which our children, they should be protected in our camps at all times. There should be, we actually, if you just watch the county meeting, we are #1 for pedophiles. So our city camps should not be allowing anyone into our camps whatsoever. And my daughter, one of my daughters, non-political, doesn't like politics. You will never see her on my page. Actually, none of my kids liking anything that I do political. They are independent, both of them. They don't have a party. Okay. She decided she's in healthcare. Her husband's working full-time. What could go wrong? Putting her kids in one of our summer day camps that her mother is a city commissioner. Okay? Let me show you what could go wrong. She picks up her kids, and I have a 10 and a 7-year-old grandkid that are wearing these shirts. Did they give parental permission? She never gave parental, thank you. When I'm talking about my grandkids, I get upset. But, so June 23rd, this happens. We have the woke bus coming through, and they have every right to do whatever they want, but not on city property. And what my grandkids told me, 10 and 7, and I actually believe them, they told me that they were told to be on their best behavior. Someone was coming to visit. They were told to put on these shirts. A picture was taken of them, and I have no idea where these pictures are, and my daughter doesn't know where this picture is. And it's not right. Well, and to give you the benefit of the doubt, I was told actually yesterday that, okay, they didn't come in and make them put on the shirts, but they stopped by, gave them a box, and the kids just went through the boxes. Okay, that is still wrong. So we're going to let kids that we are supposed to be protecting just go through boxes and we don't know what's in them? Or people just showing up at our city camps? No, it's totally wrong. I'm sorry. And it says right here, also you said the American Federation of Teachers. This June 23rd that happened with my grandkids, it says, the state woke ruling votercade is officially on the move. On Friday, the mobile protest and effort at Florida NAAC branches, Transformative Justice Coalition, Black Voters Matter, American Federation of the Teachers, Rainbow Push Coalition, and other organizations advocating for marginalizing groups is scheduled to stop in Daytona Beach. And that was on June 23rd in Daytona Beach News Journal. And that's another thing. This is my daughter on June 23rd, her text. Call me, it's important. And I was actually getting my hair done. I called her, I said, I can't talk. I said, send me the picture. And she goes, did you get it? It's still sending. There's the picture when she picks up her kids. This stuff should not be happening. And I'm sorry, we are not, there's different forms of government here. We are a council commission. We are not weak mayor. We are not strong mayor. The mayor has every same amount of vote as all of us. The only difference that you have is you run the meetings, emergency executive orders, the proclamations. I mean, so anything that goes on should be going through the commission. And we should not be sponsoring national political events that I don't agree with. And Ms. Cynthia Slater, I'm talking. And another thing, if this is what we're going to do, then I guess this shirt doesn't matter. And I know a lot of you probably disagree with this shirt as well. And this is something that when I ran for a nonpartisan race, I take my seat very seriously. I have never belonged to the Republican Volusia County REC here, not ever, okay? I take my position serious. If I wanted to run for a partisan seat, I would have ran for a partisan seat, but I didn't. I'm here to represent all my residents. Yes, there's no hidden agenda. Everybody knows what party I belong to. But I will represent all my constituents exactly the same. And so I just want to read something, and then I'm going to ask you something, Ben. Some of you may not agree with the contents of this shirt, but I had a choice. My daughter was not consulted, and no parental permission was given for the shirts that were put on my daughter's children. My daughter and son-in-law are not political people, and they did not approve their children being used as political props and a walking billboard. Individual political ideologies should be respected. There are approximately 80,000 residents in Daytona Beach. All of them are different political, have a different political perspective. What people do in their own time is fine, but the city of Daytona Beach is a nonpartisan municipality and should not be involved in partisan politics. This commission has done great things together. Okay, I agree with that. And I am proud to be a part of it. But I cannot agree on something like this. When you can Google this event, and it is all over national politics, regarding national politics. And I know you said the Federation, and you've seen what they're putting out there. So, I want to talk to you because, like I said, we all have one vote, and we should be nonpartisan. We're not the school board, and I think it's great. If you wanted to have an event with books, perfect. But there should be no national politics involved in our nonpartisan seats up here. And I would like to have something come to us where maybe we have staff or something review what we are doing, even if they disapprove of it, and with you involved, because I don't think you even seen what was going on, but with you involved, and then it comes before us. So stuff like this doesn't happen. Stuff like this doesn't happen. And do I agree to get the vote out? Absolutely. Absolutely. But on your own time and not on city taxpayers' dollars. And we were using city staff, and the taxpayers pay for our staff, not us. Our staff. They get paid by taxpayers' dollars. So I don't want to see this. And don't think, this is not, actually, I didn't even have a shirt. I had this made just for today. I don't even have it to say it's a Trump shirt. But I'm making a point that we shouldn't be doing this unless you want to see me wearing this stuff up here, which is crazy. So that's all I have to say. And Ben?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Cantu did share her concerns with me before the event occurred. I looked at the information that I had. I don't think that the event, based on the information that I had, was illegal. I don't think that's the main point of the discussion. But if you have political differences and disagreements, there is an alternative way to co-sponsor events. And in fact, the city did this with parades with Resolution 2021-93. We established standards under which the city would agree to co-sponsor parades.
Ben, before you finish, you said you don't think it's illegal, but do you think we could have lawsuits? Do you think, let's say, for instance, my daughter was put in these shirts. So you saying that?
Anybody can sue the city.
Correct.
Obviously, these kinds of issues can draw some pretty impassioned responses these days. And for that reason, as well as policy, you may want to consider doing something like what you've done with parades, like what DDA does when it co-sponsors events. And as the mayor pointed out, you all did discuss this particular event at the last commission meeting. It wasn't through a formal process, but there was an opportunity for a majority of the city commissioners to kill the event. You didn't do that. I think there are procedures in place based on what I understand to be, what staff does. And I think what would be helpful is if we developed a policy that sort of shows the math, if you will. That shows in writing what in fact is being done to review proposed events to make sure that we're not doing anything that would cause undue controversy. And if you'd like, I could work with the city manager and bring a policy forward, similar to what we did with parades and similar to what DDA does with its co-sponsored events.
And just so you know, I think my 4th of July parade, I know Jagger brought that up. We got approval on that. My Halloween event, we got approval on that. My events,
On what, by what?
the Halloween event, my 4th of July parade, it had to come back to get approval. We approved all that. So my events, I do get approval.
That event was approved because we didn't reject it. So it was approved as well.
No, we didn't vote on that.
We didn't deny it either.
Yes, but I didn't have all the facts either. She brought it up, no, because Commissioner Reed, I'm sorry to tell you, this is,
Well, you're talking about two different things. Now you're going to talk about.
okay, no, I'm
Talk
talking
about
about
the
the
book thing.
flyer. The flyer was masked, masked completely. It didn't show every national political organization under it. Google it. You'll see differences.
Those are different groups. The ones that sponsored this event were the ones that were labeled.
Then please tell me when you Google why we have our Dickerson Center October 7th all over.
We can't control what other people do.
It was a national, I'm not gonna sit and argue, but it was a national political thing.
This was not a national political thing. We were striving for the children
Did
of
you
three.
just watch
May I
the
finish?
video?
May I finish?
You
I let you
finish.
talk, and I didn't interrupt.
Go ahead.
This was not a national political thing. We wanted to make sure that the children of 32114 and 32117 had an opportunity to receive books from different grade levels. Their parents were there. You could see the multicultural diversity that was there. These people were hungry for something to learn. The parents were giving their children permission to get these books. The mayor told you that when he talked to those individuals that we agreed to have the program with, there were no banned books there. And even if they were, the parents were there if they wanted their children to have those books. This was not a political event. There was no political motivation behind this for us at all. And we're making a mountain out of a molehill. It was I got books. My aunt is reading books that I can't even give to my nieces and nephews because she's reading the books first. She's sitting there, and we're talking about a 78-year-old who's like, wow, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. They were just books. You know, as a culture, we have been denied the opportunity to read and to learn and to grow throughout history. And these young people are being denied that same opportunity because we as adults are taking it to a whole nother level. It's not that. If you would have seen those books, if you would have come, instead of just reading something and getting a phone call, had you come there and seen for yourself, then you would have had more evidence to support your theory. But neither of you came. I didn't see you there.
No,
And I wasn't there
no.
all day, but I didn't see you when
And
I
I
was
wouldn't
there.
have attended it because it's a national political event. So I represent all my residents in my
Then I would have
zone.
been there to support my residents to see what
Yeah,
they were
I
being given.
represent all my residents in my zone, and I know some of my residents did not agree with
And
that
everybody's
event.
not going to
But
always
some of your
agree.
residents
Right.
did, right? Did you represent the ones that did?
I represent all, that's why
Okay,
I'm,
but some of
that's,
them did.
that's why I am nonpartisan.
But some
Okay,
some agreed
did
though,
and
right?
some didn't.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't be doing a national political event.
But if you represent all of your residents, then you have to say, some of my residents agree, some of my residents don't agree. I'm going to support, if you're supporting
We're
all
gonna
your
have to
residents.
sit and disagree. I
I
am not
100
disagreeing about books whatsoever. I do not have a problem about books.
I believe it.
I have 5 kids and 13 grandkids. I have no problem about books, and that should be the parents' decision. And I think you know me well enough to know that it's the parents' decision. It's the principle. We should not be getting behind national political politics and a nonpartisan
Okay,
seat.
we've already made that point, but let me just, because we don't want to go all night with this. I just want you to understand, and I brought this up, that it's almost impossible for us to not do that on some level at some times. I explained to you that our police chief, he's a part of a union. or Police Chiefs Association. We pay the fees for him to be a part of that. And they endorse candidates. Okay? The very event that I went to that you sponsored a few weeks ago with the Firefighters Union. You remember that event that you had out on Pelican Bay at where the firefighters and the families and the grandparents' day? That was an event sponsored by the city. That Firefighters Union, they endorsed Governor DeSantis. That same union. So it's the same thing. We can't get away from that. I went to the event knowing that the Firefighters Union did that. And I don't care that they did that. All I cared about was that they were going to do something good for our community. And that's at the end of the day, that's all any of us really cares about, because we're going to disagree on national politics. But when we come in here, we're going to have a division here and a division there, but let's just come together when we know something is good. Yes, the teachers union does not agree with banning books, and they obviously have a campaign against that. That wasn't something that I was really privy to or cared about. Now, I came to understand it a little bit better later, and really after you explained it or said that, but at the end of the day, it still wasn't an issue for me where I thought it was a reason for us not to support it. Because the bottom line is, parents should be able to make the decision. And all the children that came there came with their parents made decisions, and I was careful to make certain that they were not giving out books that were even of a controversy. So I don't see what else we can do. Now, we change our whole policy. I mean, there's a lot of different groups that we wouldn't be able to fund who do good work. It's just like people who come up here. You think that all of them that come up here and we give them something or give them money or we partner with them, they all have a political agenda somewhere. But at the end of the day, we are a nonpartisan board, and I believe that we act as a nonpartisan board. And I think that we should move forward and continue to do that. And I don't think that there's much to be changed. And I understand what conversation you had, but you got to remember that you can't just call me out because you're not really aware of all the things that you've been involved in that were of a partisan nature.
And the fire union, I get it. And actually wasn't thinking about that. That's why I think we need a policy that our lawyers look at it and they vet our events.
I personally.
Because if that's not the case, I can have a lot of Republican events right on the side.
We're not just going to have, I'm not going to just
Right,
support
right.
Democrats
That's
and
what I'm
Republicans.
saying. That's what I'm
going to
saying.
support good events.
Right.
But I just
Well,
want
I
to say
didn't
this.
think they were good events.
Yeah.
You might disagree.
Yeah, you're
That's why I'm saying it should be.
If you want to get a policy, let them get a policy, but I'm going to tell you all like I always tell you. I don't want the staff reviewing and telling me what to do. I want us to make the decisions about what we do. I don't want the staff leading me around talking about, oh, this is a good event, that's not a good event, this meets the policy, this don't meet the policy. I brought this event to you all. I have never, even when I want to do something that costs money, I always come in here and give a presentation and talk about it. I'm not hiding anything because, and you don't have to remind me, I know how to count to 4. That's what I always say sitting in this seat. And the day that I can't normally get to 4, it'd be my last term. When it get to a point where I can't normally, and I don't mean every issue, but most of the issues that I bring in here, if I can get to 4, I'm all right with it. So I know my role and I know my job. See, but I don't work for them. And I don't want to work for them.
No,
Okay?
they work for us.
Okay, I want to keep it that way.
And that's fine, but then the events that we have should be a decision by all of us. It should be put on the agenda for a decision by all of us. So we have time to investigate these events and make sure that we all agree with the events. Well, then we have a vote.
But if you got something and you and him want to work and bring it before us, have at it. We'll vote on it and see if we approve it. That's all I can say. It's got to be something that's really good for me to support it, because I'm happy with the way we've done things overall. I understand your perspective about this. It's one event out of hundreds, thousands, and it's And it's still at that, it's the best that I've ever had.
There's more than one event, but
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, there is. I mean, it's just, it boggles my mind that we got the NAACP that rents out a office in one of our facilities for $1 a month. I mean, I just can't believe that either. I mean, so maybe I have some conservative groups that would like to rent out some rooms for $1 a month. Maybe I will, Ms. Slater.
Please don't talk, Ms. Slater, at this time, please.
I think what was in question was the banned bookmobile, which was divisive in what it was saying against the party. And when you're saying that it's one party against another, and if they're supporting one person, it's not that we're putting down the other person. I think that's where there's some disconnect.
I understand that.
You know?
But political speech and free speech, that's what they are. Just
Of
like
course, I believe in free speech, and
know.
I think that's what we should have. And I thought that was a great event. I just asked that banned bookmobile not attend. That was my request.
and guess what
And
it
we
did?
did have, well, obviously it did. I know. I saw.
It didn't come on our property, though.
What's the difference?
It's a big
It was part of.
It's a big difference.
It was part of the event. Okay.
I'm sorry, it was on the property. I got pictures as well.
It wasn't on our property.
It was on the property.
Well,
I
we
have
set- we-
pictures.
We had them set it up off the property. Didn't know anything about them being on our property. Anyway, I respect that. Is there anything else you all would like? Yeah.
No, and I respect what you do for the city too, and I don't want us to be divided on this, but it was just, I felt this group was very divisive when they were putting down another political party because it was a federal political committee. That's what my point was, not the books that were being given out. And I did also ask and make sure that none of those banned books were going to be there. And they were very adamant to tell me that no banned books were going to be there. And I asked, well, then why are you attending? And they said, so we could tell people how to advocate to get the banned books. So, and then I found out that they were part of this federal political committee, which I don't think that we should have had them there. That was the only thing. The books, I'm happy the books were given out. The children had a good time because that's what it's all about. And I don't want to divide the city because I think we're all doing a great job here. And it could have been something as easy as saying, you know what, this is divisive. Maybe we shouldn't have them come. That was the only thing.
Okay.
And I agree with you 100%.
All
I
right.
have
Anything else?
I have a question about something. Commissioner Cantu brought up interaction between young people and adults who come on our property. So what is our policy with regard to that? So if we have groups who come on to our various campuses and we have a day school program or, like, we have a policy for that, right?
Tell them how you responded to what happened and what the policy is, because that's not a normal thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think that those two events should be tied together. They were two separate situations.
Sure, I was curious about how we manage that.
He can tell you.
Yeah, I was actually contacted by Commissioner Cantu in reference to the group for Black Voters Matters who was coming on were delivering items, leftover chips, cookies, drinks to our facility. There was an investigation that took place, and Commissioner Cantu and I actually had conversations and communications back and forth, as well as Mr. Willis. We had our supervisor to look at our cameras to see if any staff members, her grandkids did say that they put shirts on them, but when we looked at that, we did not see any staff members on our cameras giving shirts and directing children to put on shirts from that, based on the supervisors. After that, I had Keith to go and speak to all of our employees and say that these kids, and communicated to Commissioner Cantu that that I think that is unfortunate that was done. These young people are put in the care of our city. And so we've changed our policy from that day, because there was not a policy that no group should come in our area or even rent our facilities during the same time as our camps, because we don't want the intermingle to take place. And so for our next year's camp, that is going to be the criteria, that when we have camps, no matter what, they cannot come on our properties or give out anything.
So from a perspective of mental health and trauma, I think that's a really good policy to not have strangers interacting with young people who the residents are entrusting us with. I think that's a fantastic policy. I always believed that when you had interaction, you had to provide documentation to come on property. For example, you go to the schools, anything here, you have to have a background check. Did they do that, not do that, overlooked?
This is the group, and the group that she's talking about that brought in was the local NAACP and individuals that were given. And they've given out things that we've taken to our fire department, food, we've taken to our police department. So it wasn't just a stranger group, but because of this particular issue, when I found out about it, I said our policy is going to be that no groups, and I'm going to be recommending that we don't even rent facilities. The previous cities that I've come from, there was no rental or interaction for any group, whether we knew them or not, that between the hours of 7:30 and 5:30, they could not come into our facilities where we had a summer camp. So we would not have the interchange of people that shouldn't be there or not, other than going to the pool. And that was communicated. And the process took place, and we had staff members to go through the review. But Commissioner Cantu is very adamant. Her daughter and son-in-law and her grandkids says they were forced to put on shirts at the event. And I say, in no way or form, our staff should be doing that. And if they do that, they're going to be disciplined because of that type of measure.
So
Mr.
basically,
Manning?
you're saying that something happened that was inappropriate and you dealt with it, your staff dealt with it, you trained everybody going forward as far as what you want to see. So that happens in every work environment. You go
That was in June, and I thought
So you
that
go
was-
to the elementary school, something happens in the classroom, the principal's going to come in, they might bring in some additional trainers, they're going to say, this is how we're going to do things going forward, right? So, you can't do anything outside of that. That's to me, that's best practices.
Okay, I do like what you're going to do going forward, but Mr. Manager, on June 23rd, when you were contacted, you just had a meeting previously. I talked to Ben, what you're doing forward. You said you looked at cameras. You did not look at any cameras. The cameras were deleted because I asked for them.
They are deleted 30 days
30 days,
after.
yes,
When you
but you
communicated
did
with
not-
me on that day,
you
I
did
had
not.
staff to look at those cameras, and we communicated electronically on
You let this go, and I let it go. You never said anything. I said my daughter demanded her money back. She got her money back the next day. She did not send her kids. My daughter and her husband, who's a pastor's son that has different beliefs, did not appreciate this in the first place. You let it go. My daughter never once got an apology from anyone. And you just went back because you knew I was bringing it up, just went back recently and made policy and had a meeting yesterday. Ben, did you have a meeting regarding this?
No. Ben, I would advise you to correct and make the fact.
We had a meeting because you wanted to talk to the supervisor who was on the scene just to verify what
Okay.
happened.
Yes.
Because I know you did not look at cameras or anything. You let it go.
Commissioner. And we had electronic communications that you said you were.
Okay, so right now, you're saying my 7-year-old and my 10-year-old is lying what happened.
No, I didn't.
Now, that makes me very mad.
No, I did not
Because
say
my
that.
10-year-old told me, and they keep saying the same
say
exact
that.
story. And believe me, we know when our kids are lying,
Commissioner,
and
I
I
did
know
not say-
the mayor knows when my kids are lying.
I did
My
not say your
grandkids are
kids were
lying.
lying.
He never said that, Commissioner. All he's saying is they reviewed the camera. They didn't see it. That's all he's saying. Nothing more. Nobody's accusing anyone.
And the 10-year-old was told, because he asked, did he have to put on this shirt? He was told, yes, this is what he says, because he was not going to be able to have recess. And they were told to be on their best behavior. And then a picture was taken of all of them. And that my grandkids said, and it wasn't a cell phone like the cameras they usually are used to. It was a real camera.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure this never happens in our city camp. I don't care if it was DeSantis shirts, Trump shirts, whatever. Without a parent consent, there should be nothing being taken off our kids. My granddaughter and my grandson, to this day, we don't even know where their clothes are. Yes.
Okay. Are we done?
I'm done, but
Okay.
I do want you to look at some policies, and it should be a commission decision, not one individual,
Okay.
when we are using taxpayers' dollars.
All right, look at some policy.
I just want to say that
Commissioner?
Commissioners Cantu, I know you said your shirt, it would really bother everybody. Your shirt doesn't bother me at all.
Me either. That's
And-
no point of view.
That's your point of view. That's all I wanted to say.
And I understand it don't bother you. Yours
Okay.
don't bother me either.
All right. There any other comments?
But it does bother some, and you know it does too.
Well, okay. All right, there's no further comments. I will conclude with this. We would like to have some issues brought
Suggestions,
forward
sure.
or
Yeah.
instructions that we might be able to consider. I understand you had some correspondence regarding the matter. Please share the correspondence with all of the commission. We understand that some things transpired that, you know, have upset you. We want to bring ourselves back to a point of balance and move forward. Anything else? All right. Thank you all. You know, I didn't realize the meeting hadn't even really begun. So, all right, let's get started.
So we're going to move on to item number 7. This is citizen comments. During this time, citizens have the opportunity to address any item on the consent agenda. So our first speaker is John Nicholson, and on deck is, I can't read that. Is it Catherine Pantu? Okay.
Next.
You're next, yes.
John
All
Nicholson,
right.
413.
Go ahead. Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
John Nicholson, 413 North Granview Avenue. A couple of things on the consent agenda. One, fuel farm. Ben mentioned a comment when we were discussing it last meeting. The use of the word nowhere in the city. We went through this one time before. About 20 years ago, we had an issue with the adult clubs throughout the city. We spent $1 million, went all the way to the Supreme Court to prevent it, having strip clubs totally naked in the city. And when we decided to go a little bit further and ban them throughout the city, they went to court and threw out our ban and went totally naked on Beachside. We made the mistake by forbidding it anywhere in the city. So I'm asking us not to make the same mistake twice. So if there's a place for it, let's find a place for it. Obviously, we don't want it near the railroad tracks. But if there's a place, there's a place. But whatever you write, make sure that it'll pass muster. We don't want this thing thrown out and get it. I never realized we had a Lutheran agreement. I've been here 40 years, and I never knew we worked with the Lutherans on the drug addiction. So that's item E. So if there's some clarification, so whatever it is.
Miss Slater over here, please have me, and doing slide more remarks. Can you have her removed, please?
No, you can't just have something.
Then she
removed.
can't be over here threatening and mouthing me.
don't-
I am not gonna listen to it from you.
Okay,
I am sorry, but I am not gonna sit and have her threatening me over there and pointing at me.
I didn't see any threats, and I didn't.
Yeah, you
I
didn't see it
can't
because she
verify
keeps doing
those,
it.
and I don't.
And you think I'm scared of you, I'm not,
Okay.
Miss Slater.
Okay, Commissioner, you gotta settle down, okay? You gotta settle down. You can't have her removed, but let's just make sure that we all governing ourselves.
Threatening me.
If she, okay.
There.
All right, let's have no talking from the audience. I gotta have a controlled meeting. Otherwise, I do have to ask to have people removed. But I gotta have a controlled meeting. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes, you can have her removed.
Oh,
You can't- wait.
I can
You
have her
cannot.
removed.
Yes, you can have her
I
removed.
can have her removed.
But Stacy
Okay,
can't.
you talk.
Okay.
You talk
All
about
right.
the agenda item.
Correct. And I don't know who the organization is, but I would like to know a little bit more about it, and that we do it more often. And public parks, about 25 years ago, and Sandy hates when I go back in history, but Chris Travis was Zone 1 commissioner, and she asked for a park in Zone 1. She had one park, and she'd like a second one. Now, it's been 20 some odd years, and she deserves to have more parks in Zone 1. Actually, we need to have parks distributed all past 95 and around LPGA, that all of our representatives, all of our residents have within walking distance or biking distance parks and recreation. It's part of quality of life. So when we do this,
I stopped your clock.
Yeah, just stop it.
Okay.
All right.
so when we do this plan for the parks, Miami-Dade has parks in every new community, that we make sure that Zone 1, Zone 4, Zone 5 all have as many parks as Midtown. Midtown has 100 parks. Beachside had 3 parks. That was an imbalance, but that's the way it was 100 years ago. It's not that way anymore. So as we plan and as we grow, let's make sure that all of the new communities all have access to parks. Thank you.
Well, I agree with that, but you overstate things as usual. All right, let's go.
Okay, is it Catherine
Jesus.
Cantu? Okay. And on deck is Frederick Brown.
Hi, Mayor, City Commission. I'm here to ask the City of Daytona Beaches to support Ormond Beach in their opposition to the Belvedere Fuel Farm. I feel the fuel farm is an imminent danger to all residents of Volusia County. Not if, but when a catastrophic event occurs, it will tie up all our police, fire, and ambulance transport citywide, leaving residents in the surrounding cities without protection and medical transport. Our area hospitals are already at capacity, will be overwhelmed. Further, we have no burn unit, meaning our air transport will also be unavailable to residents. Insight into the company, it's a foreign corporation with a poor safety and environmental record. To date, they total $454 million in fines. I also encourage you to get letters of support from our police and fire departments, as this is a public safety issue, in the same fashion that they issued letters in reference of support to the sexual offender ordinance that the county wants to pass. Also, we have railway transport that this is going to come in for. This would mean we could have a derailment anywhere throughout our county, which could be catastrophic, citywide, countywide. It opens us up to terrorism, and my feeling is increased fentanyl into our state of Florida and community. So I'm just asking to send a support to the City of Ormond Beach in reference to that. And as for the Culture Wars, I am really proud of our city for having this book event and supporting it. I have 2 Amanda Gorman books left that I purchased to pass out to people.
Mayor, that's out
For
of line.
any-
It was supposed to only be
for
about the
any
consent agenda.
She's right.
Okay. Any resident?
You gotta have a
like-
seat. Don't talk about things that are not on the agenda.
Our final.
You can speak on it in the last 3 minutes.
Our final consent agenda speaker is Frederick Brown.
Whew. Be a tough one here. Guess this
How
one
do
paid me.
I follow all that? Frederick Brown, 1508 Kristen Ridge, Daytona Beach. I'm going to try and stay to the agenda, even though I certainly would like to make comments on some of the other stuff, but I do appreciate all the viewpoints here
You'll be here, dear.
in the city. On item 8A, I am in favor of supporting the opposition. I worked in the petrochemical field before I saw the light, so to speak. Well, one of the things I'd like to point out, okay, and a lot of the remarks our previous speaker said are correct, and a lot of people don't know it here in the city. The railroad is owned by a company out of Mexico, and I don't think anybody really knows that. So there's no accountability as far as bringing fuel and stuff in. I have been through several petrochemical fires in the Mideast and also here in the United States. They're not a pleasant event, I can assure you that. So again, I support the banning of that. However, one of the strongest messages that this city could send forward is the message of let's not use fuel, let's use alternative energy. And so far I've pleaded, many times before this council that we start taking alternative energy seriously. And I would like to see that part of our statement, that we're going to adopt a more alternative energy stance in how we do business here in the city. Again, this is my city, my tax dollars. I'd much rather see alternative energy I've talked to you about possibly getting a separate alternative energy grid here, which would be good for all the citizens of Daytona, and it would certainly prevent having fuel farms here, and it would make a strong statement. On item 8A, I'm sorry, 8I, and our previous speaker, John, talked about the parks and stuff. That's a great deal of money to be spending on it, and I still don't understand why we're getting a firm from way outside of town to design our parks. We got a firm from St. Augustine, at least it's in the same state, but why don't we have somebody here local doing things like this? Again, I just don't understand our bid process and how we solicit companies to do the city's work. In regards to item 8K, two things. I think it's imperative that our city partner, as you call them, P&S Paving, follows the Green Book. Those are the rules for the city roads. I know in my neighborhood, they did not follow it. I pointed it out at the time they were paving. They decided to just not follow the Green Book. And I'm talking in terms of the width of the streets that we pay for, okay, or that were not the proper minimum widths. So we had some dangerous intersections as a result of it. The other thing I think it's important that the city add to this is that when speed bumps are removed, they need to be replaced unless 51% of the neighborhood says, no, we don't want the speed bumps back. We already had an incident where a young lady was seriously hurt because of the speed bump not being replaced. Thank you.
That, I believe, was my final speaker for the consent agenda.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Take a motion from Commissioner Henry and a second from Commissioner May. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. This motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 9, which are public hearings. Item 9A is the Growth Management and Planning Department, Volusia Square Plan Development General. This is an ordinance on second reading, quasi-judicial hearing. An ordinance amending the zoning map of the Land Development Code to rezone 22.4 plus or minus acres of property located on the south side of West International Speedway Boulevard and a portion of the block bounded by Thames Road to the southwest and South Williamson Boulevard to the northeast from BR2 Business Retail 2 to PDG Plan Development General, approving the Volusia Square Plan District Agreement to allow additional uses, upgrade landscaping, subdivide the property, and incorporate uniform sign plan to support redevelopment of the Volusia Square Shopping Center, subject to certain conditions, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the agreement, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner May and a second from Commissioner Cantu. Do we have any questions or comments?
And let's
No
see.
speakers?
I have Mr. Rob Merrill here on behalf of the applicant for any questions.
All right, no question from Mr. Merrill. All right, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. We're going to move on to item 9B. It's a Growth Management Planning Department, Daytona Specialty Food and Marketplace, Plan Development General. This is an ordinance on second reading, quasi-judicial hearing. An ordinance amending the zoning map of the Land Development Code to rezone 4.7 plus or minus acres of property located on the east side of Indigo Drive, north of West International Speedway Boulevard and east of Interstate 95 at 101 Indigo Drive from T5 Tourist Highway Interchange to PDG Plan Development General, approving the Daytona Specialty Food and Marketplace Plan District Agreement to allow for a specialty food marketplace and associated site improvements subject to certain conditions, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the agreement, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
All right, motion from Commissioner Reed, second from Commissioner May. Do we have
And
any-
I do have Mr. Rob Merrill here on behalf of the applicant for any questions.
All right,
No other
no
speakers.
questions, okay. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Moving on to item 9C, it's the Growth Management and Planning Department Water Supply Plan, Large-Scale Comprehensive Plan Amendment. This is an ordinance on second reading, public hearing. An ordinance adopting comprehensive plan amendments previously transmitted to the State Land Planning Agency with changes in accordance with Chapter 163, Part 2, and 373 Florida statutes, following an update of the Regional Water Supply Plan approved by St. Johns River Water Management District, adopting amendments to the infrastructure, intergovernmental coordination, coastal management, and capital improvement elements to incorporate incorporate the city's revised water supply work plan and add provisions relating to water supply facilities and planning, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Second.
Commissioner from, motion from Commissioner May, second from Commissioner Cantu. Do we have any questions or speakers?
And no speakers for this item, Mr. Mayor.
All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. We're going to move on to 9D. It's a Growth Management Planning Department Special Use Permit Review Standards, Land Development Code Text Amendment. This is an ordinance on second reading, public hearing. An ordinance amending Article 3, Section 3.4.G.4 of the Land Development Code to remove the text suggesting planning board approval is required to waive zoning district standards, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Reed and take a second from Commissioner Cantu. Do we have any questions or comments?
And I have no speakers, Mr. Mayor.
All right, no speakers. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. We're going to move on to item 9E. It's a Growth Management and Planning Department Oasis Mixed Use Development Proportionate Share Master Parent Tract Agreement. This is a resolution public hearing. A resolution approving the Oasis Mixed Use Development Proportionate Share Master Parent Tract Agreement between the city, Hines Acquisitions LLC, the developer, and the County of Volusia, providing for the developer to pay a proportionate share contribution to Volusia County in relation to the development of 810 residential units, 120 hotel rooms, and 357,000 square feet of non-residential uses on a parcel of land generally located southeast of the intersection of LPGA Boulevard and Williamson Boulevard and bounded by LPGA Boulevard, Williamson Boulevard, Clyde Morris Boulevard, and Mason Avenue, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the agreement and providing an effective date.
I have a motion from Commissioner May and a second from Commissioner Strickland.
Okay, and I do have Jessica Gow here on behalf of the applicant for any questions.
No questions of Ms. Gow? All right, we got a motion, we got a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, we got an issue. What?
Did you sign up to speak on it? I don't have a speaker sheet for you.
What? All right,
Did you fill out one of the green
The vote
sheets?
was not voted.
Okay, the green sheet's for at the end of the meeting. Sorry.
So,
Do you want to go ahead and speak now? I mean,
yeah, I don't mind if you speak. We didn't, you can let us speak.
okay.
Oh, you wanted to speak to the attorney?
Well, no, I wanted him to hear it, but actually I wanted to speak to you, Mayor Henry, and the commissioners.
Okay, you can go ahead and
Please do.
speak.
This development.
Please do.
Okay.
Hi.
What item was
What
this?
item is this? One, you gonna
The
hold it,
Daytona
vote.
Specialty Food Marketplace
We
on
already voted.
Indigo.
Oh, we already voted on it.
Yeah, okay.
We can still
We can
hear-
still listen.
Okay. I am Gina Gibson. I am the daughter of the owner of the Village of Indigo Lakes Apartments Complex, right next door to this proposed development and rezoning. It was brought up in the last meeting in regards to the lift station that is on our property that we maintain. And we have had no communications or legal agreement for them to use our lift station, which they are currently using, in their proposed building a 4-story apartment complex and the specialty food marketplace. A letter was sent from our attorney, Scott Simpson of Corey Sweet McKinnon and Simpson, to the previous owners in regards to their connection to our lift station. The lift station is exceeding its capacity. It is the original lift station when the property was developed and built back in 1984. And there is concern that if they build this property, rezone it, that there will be a backup of sewage and the result of there is no agreement, legal agreement between us and the developer, Danza LLC. Now, secondly, in the site, the map that they put up, there's one entrance in and out to our apartment complex. And as Robert Merrill of Cobb Coal suggested that they were also going to use our ingress and egress. So, we have questions. We have had no communications from the developer or from their attorney to our attorney in regards to their plans in use of our lift station that is 30 years old, and we did rebuild it 7 years ago, and they plan to still continue to use it. We plan to disconnect.
You do?
Yes, we do, because there's no legal agreement. And I could read the letter from Scott Simpson. I am the attorney for Lamachi's Village at Indigo Lakes and have been asked to look into the situation of its sewer line and lift station located on your property described above and your connection to said sewer line. My client's concern is that your sewer line connects to its sewer line and increases the volume of flow through the lift station. There is concern that the lift station is exceeding its capacity and is in need of repair or modification. I have attached document recorded in public records which gives my client the right to construct the sewer line and lift station on your property, and my client, us, is responsible for the maintenance, which we continue to maintain and they continue to use. He asked them to either disconnect or come with a legal mutual agreement.
Neither one have.
None of the above.
Mr. Mayor, we've approved a PD rezoning agreement. It's a general zoning approval. It's very common after a zoning approval is issued that the applicant has to provide and submit a utility plan. If the applicant's assumptions about that utility plan don't work, the applicant sometimes has to revise the agreement. And that's something that would still be done here. There's nothing that the city can possibly do that would authorize them to hook up to a private lift station that they don't have access to.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And I'm sorry, ma'am, what was your name?
Excuse me, ma'am,
Oh.
what was your name?
Oh, I am Gina Gibson, Village at Indigo Lakes Apartments.
Yes, ma'am.
I am the vice president and the daughter of the owner. We've been maintaining that property since 1996.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'd like to keep the integrity.
Okay,
We
thank you,
got
ma'am. I just needed your name.
Need your name. We got it.
Okay. Did Mr. Gibson want to speak as well, or? Yeah. it doesn't matter.
My name is Timothy Gibson. I'm a retired aerospace engineer, and I'm Gina's husband. And what I would say about this, my perspective, relative to the lift station, you've covered it, so I don't want to get into it, but our lift station is insufficient. They would have to build their own lift station. I just let them know that. The other thing is, our survey indicates that the interest is our interest. We own the entrance, so they would have to construct their own entrance. So that's just, I just wanted to convey those concerns. So I think you've covered it.
We got you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. So we're going to move on to item number 10, which is our administrative items. Item 10A is being continued to the next commission meeting. So item 10B is City Manager's Office Economic Development Advisory Board appointment resolution. A resolution appointing one member to the Economic Development Advisory Board to serve a 3-year term ending February 28, 2026, and providing an effective date. And I do have speakers on this item. Ms. Goodman. Our first speaker is John Nicholson, and on deck is Pastor Derek Harris.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. I don't normally speak on nominations. However, there are 13 people running for this position of one. I only know 9 of them, so for 4 of them I cannot speak, but the others I've known for years. Of the 4, 2, I would say, are the finest of the bunch. They are economic engines for our city. One owns a distributing company. He is volunteered on all of our boards. He volunteers all kinds of things to the city. The other gentleman is the son of a former mayor who has also done well for the city. So those two gentlemen, I would believe, are your finest and your best choices for an economic development board. Oftentimes you want just a resident to be on a board. This particular board, because it's economic, has to have an economic background. Somebody that is interested in financing, someone that's interested in development. These two gentlemen fit that bill. If I had my preference of the two, because one has been on so many boards for the city and is always active, the other gentleman is just beginning to be active, and in order to reel him in, to get him more active in the city, I would recommend that Bud Ritchie be appointed to this board. I think he'd be a fine addition, and it's somebody that we would like to have very, very active in our community. Thank you.
And that was my only speaker on this item. Right. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Good evening, Pastor Derek Harris, business at 918 Orange Avenue and also church at 511 Fremont Avenue. I was approached about this board some time ago, and being that I've owned and operated a business for the last now 34 years in the city of Daytona Beach, many of the other businesses around the community branched off out of the business that I started. I'm also the pastor of Master's Domain Church of God in Christ. So Lord bless, where we were from the back of a barbershop now to a beautiful sanctuary for the last, and I've been pastoring now for the last 28 years. Proud to say that this year we were able to pay off the entire mortgage. And so many things that we've been able to do in the city. I'm very involved. I'm a graduate of Bethune-Cookman University. I have my bachelor's and my master's degree from that fine institution. And I think the thing that I would really be able to offer the most is to be a liaison to many of the individuals that are in several different aspects of the community. I have the opportunity, and I know personally many of the movers and shakers in the community, as well as those that are just trying to get a start. And I think that I would be able to really be a voice to many of those individuals, and also be able to bring a perspective of coming from a background where we really started from nothing and coming to something else. And so I just really hope that these fine commissioners, if you all would just be able to consider my willingness, as busy as I am, but my willingness to serve on a committee such as this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. This agenda item is to appoint one member to the Economic Development Board. We have 13 applicants, and before you is a ballot. You have yours?
Some of y'all get on another board. It's hard.
Mr. Mayor, you have your ballot?
No, I don't have a ballot.
Yes.
I don't know if I want one.
So don't forget to put your name.
Can you tell me who else is on the board? I can't remember.
Carol, Hal.
Carol Killian?
Yes, I didn't
Name
bring
of
that. I didn't bring that.
Okay. Who else?
Carol Killian.
Carol Killian.
Gooden, Hal Lloyd, Carol Killian. Go ahead, those are all my residents. That's why I came to you guys before about this. We needed a business person because we couldn't get residents until we changed it. Now everybody wants to be on the board.
Bob Rand, Carol Killian,
Yeah.
Mary Lou,
Okay.
Chris Navarone.
You need.
They got, what, is that one woman? Y'all killed it.
Thank you.
She was
It can't be. It can't be secret. You gotta put your.
Harris, Monica Paris, Chris Bowler, Juanita May, Chris Bowler, Commissioner Henry, Derek Harris, Commissioner Reed, Derek Harris, and Commissioner Cantu, Derek Harris.
Oh, wow. There you go, buddy. What happened when you show up? You got a good reputation. And advocate for yourself. All right.
Okay.
Good luck, good work. Appreciate you.
So we need a motion in a second.
Oh, yeah, can we have a motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Reed, Commissioner Strickland. Motion in a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 11. And under item number 11, if you want to take that first before we move on to commissioner comments, is the growth management phase 2 of the Cities of Affordable Housing effort.
What was
Do you want
the
to
other?
take Jim before?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Mayor Commissioner, good evening. Jim Morris, Deputy City. Can I need this one? Sorry? This is the mic. Hello.
That's a good mic. I know. Threw me off too.
I haven't used it. Yeah, I failed in my mission tonight.
Okay.
Am I on the mic?
Yes.
All right. I'm Jim Morris, Deputy City Manager, and the agenda item before you tonight is to go to the second phase of the city's affordable housing effort. And in that, we've got a provision for creating a trust which would receive funds from mitigation collections and donations to mitigate impacts on affordable housing. And that would be something that the ordinance can be produced and really ready for commission consideration in probably 2 months' time. In respect to the ordinance to assess impact fees, it's going to take the normal production that you'd have for creation of an ordinance, workshops. As you may know, there have been a number of community groups, both pro and con in regard to the subject. So I would imagine there will be some workshops to take community input regarding how fees are assessed, what they are assessed on, and that sort of thing. And that's a part of implementing the Nexus study that we've already considered. But I've also listed to you a number of items that the city can work with in terms of other tools to provide affordable housing or assist affordable housing in the city. And we also provided some census information regarding what's occurring with affordable housing in the city of Daytona Beach in regard to tax increment work, which you know you've done as a couple of commission items, and that's created roughly 250 units. There's work that's been done with vacant lots that also, has contributed through Homes for Give Hope and other projects like that to contribute to affordable housing. There's other recommendations in the report or things that should be considered. And Mayor, the intention is to create mayor and commission. The intention is to create an overall toolbox which would finish up the collection, or start the collection of impact fees in relation to mitigation of housing if you adopt the ordinance, have a trust fund created to receive those funds and manage them, and then also have worked towards other programs. And you also will notice in the report there's a distinction between subsidized housing and affordable housing or workforce housing, all in the same bracket of percentage of income to area median income. The intention being to try and be broad in the scope of the effort made by the city to take people from households that need subsidized income, subsidized housing because of their income levels, and bring it forward to affordable housing in the form of workforce that supports working families that are working in the community but are perhaps economically challenged to full-time afford the housing that they have. And then maybe the last thing on the list, but not the least of importance, I think, is to ask the Commission to consider more rehabilitation of housing that's existing housing. And I think that in the Midtown area, we've got a number of houses that if they were assessed, they're owner occupied, that if they were assessed as affordable, probably you would consider them that. But the fact is that there are folks that have lived there, maybe several generations of their family have lived there, and something where we could really work to do more things than we've been doing as far as making those housings more comfortable, more safe, improve the neighborhood and that sort of thing. And we don't have an active program in the city. We have federal monies that we use, and there are other things that are going on, but there are things probably that could be done more if the Commission decided to do that and work on the methodology of doing those things too. So the intention is to bring a full-blown program forward. In respect to the work, the suggestion is that we would use the same company that did the Nexus study to develop the trust ordinance and the impact fee ordinance, and then work with a consulting basis on the rest of the work with them where needed. But talking with staff members, including Mr. Thomas in redevelopment, is we think a lot of the staff work on the other items can be done by the staff and brought forward to your consideration. In terms of the timeline for the ordinance on the mitigation fees, probably 3 months or so to get it ready to come before you and have you consider it. Part of that would depend on the workshops and the Commission's reaction to the input from community groups, but that remains to be seen as we bring things forward.
All right, what's y'all's questions? I know people have some concerns with this particular consultant. I don't blame them for having concerns. They didn't show us a good showing previously in a lot of ways. Does anybody have a comment? Go ahead, Commissioner Perry.
What's the process if we want to get a new consultant? Because I wasn't on the commission when this report was being done, but I remember coming to a lot of meetings and it kept getting pushed back.
We would write an RFP for consideration for consultants to submit to you and tender their job efforts, their pricing, and timeline. So an RFP would be published and go through the normal process of selecting a winner of the RFP in the way that you do in any other RFPs that you have seen. They'd come to you with staff recommendations in terms of the selections that are available to you. But it would be a wider net of casting for people that provide that sort of service and bring their work forward and see how it mates up with what you want to do.
How long does that process usually take to find a new consultant?
It's a
company?
purchasing program, and I'm probably, by the time you write the specs, publish it, give time for people to respond, I would expect the timeline reasonable is between 60 and 75 days to get it started and get it published and bring something forward.
I just, I'm a little disappointed because this is taking too long for me. And I've said that up here, so I'll just be honest with y'all. It's the one thing that I've been most dissatisfied about. The time length on this has just not been to my liking. And now I'm feeling pressure to choose someone that I don't really want.
Are we still under contract with this company?
No, ma'am. The contract is a little bit of finished work on the first phase, but the contract is complete. You're not obligated to continue with this consultant.
Mayor, I do think, I don't think we are required to have to be 30, 60, or 90 days. It just depends on what they have to present in regards to getting a good person if you do want to go outside of this current contract.
Well, waited this long is what I think, but, what do you all think? We were not happy with them.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I don't think we should do something that's not a good decision. You know, meaning, I don't think we should, because I'm in a rush, make a bad decision. 'Cause then you get something that's worse, because you're in a rush. My mother would advise me against this. And like a good boy, I usually listen to my mother.
In respect to that approach, Mayor, the work that's in the agenda item can be used by and large to form the body of a request for proposals. It's the content is there in the agenda item that you have. That could be used to describe the work requested to be performed by new consultants that would submit for the job.
You guys need to move.
If the procurement allows for us, our policies to move, we'll move the fastest we can.
That's all I ask.
Yeah.
Whatever the speed you can go, we gotta move.
But I also think that it's important for us to also show what you all have already done without even the trust funds, because you all have done a lot of work. And I think it would just help to put those things when Mr. Morris and Mr. Thomas, that's also Mr. Woodyard, who's with the Housing Authority in that talk. There are things that we are already doing, and I even see Attorney Gow that we've had conversations on items that she's worked with, that she's submitting to us to review as well.
I agree. Now, I'm not saying that we have not been moving.
Just been
slow. Just not as broad as we would like. You know, we this is our number one priority. Has been for several years, and we've stated that. So so okay. You all have anything else? Go ahead. It's all right. I feel like it's good. Go ahead.
One of the things I saw on this Nexus report, it says that almost 69% of city residents work outside of city limits, indicating the city is providing affordable workforce housing for its residents, but not jobs. So, I mean, I know that we're talking about affordable housing, but are we doing something for the jobs? Can we?
Well, we are doing something for the jobs, and
Yeah.
we are the largest
What are we
job
doing?
provider. Well, we approved the Amazon, 1,000 jobs. We have another 800 jobs, 1,000 coming with the freezer storage unit place. We did B. Braun. I mean, we are the job producers in Volusia County, honestly. We just, not all of them just, they come in here and work too. So it goes both ways.
Okay.
We are trying to produce jobs, so yeah. But I agree, we still need more jobs and better jobs. And better jobs, a lot more better jobs.
More money.
Do we need to make a motion to put this out, request for proposal?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to put a request out for proposal for a new consulting company. I move.
I second.
Parliamentarian. Motion and a second.
Do we have any members of the public that want to speak on this
Yeah.
motion?
Anybody want to speak on this item? John Nicholson? Sandy Murphy?
Sandy, if you want to go ahead and speak, and then you can fill it out.
We probably know your address.
I do know her address.
Sandy Murphy, 136 Park Avenue. You know what I'm going to say. I wrote to you earlier this week. I think this is a great decision to go out and find somebody who can put a little bit more energy and a little bit more attention into a product that's specifically for Daytona Beach and meets our needs. So I hope you'll vote in favor of the motion. Thank you.
Thank you.
They kind of suck.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue.
And you have my copy already.
Uh-huh.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. I've read the Nexus report. There's a big hole in the middle of the Nexus report. It doesn't tell you what you need to know. What specifically do you need? Do you need housing for seniors? Do you need housing for, I don't know, new people coming into town? Do you need housing for, well, someone told me her biggest need is housing for single mothers. Are we looking at that? What is the core of what we need? Kids that are transitioning out of care facilities. They go homeless. Are we looking at that? Are we looking at our 18-year-olds that are graduating, or 21-year-olds that we want to keep in the community? Are we looking at that? Are we looking at their needs, what they need for housing? Okay, these are all workforce housing. These are all housing. What you don't know is, what is the need? We have, believe it or not, like 85% of all HUD housing in the county. So if we look at HUD housing, we already have it. We are the best provider of any city in the county for those that are really in need. So what are we looking for? We are now, we had a big deficit of wealthy people. We had no Class A apartments on Beachside. We have now one. We had no housing over $500,000. Now we've got like 10,000. Everybody builds an apartment or a house that's out of range for most of our residents. So we've got that end covered. We've got the bottom end covered. What is the middle end that we need? So are we looking, the mayor keeps saying, policemen, firemen, secretaries? Is that what we're looking for? Do they need the help? Yes. But are they the ones, the primary ones that need the help? So I'm asking you to look carefully, because Monica took the issue. Look at the number of people that are working, that live in the city of Daytona Beach and work outside the city of Daytona Beach. Why? Why are people coming from 7 counties around us coming into Daytona Beach to work? I remember having somebody from Tampa, a fireman, driving from Tampa, all the way from Tampa to work for the city of Daytona Beach. Why? So if we know why the people are coming in from all over the county, all over the state, to work in the city of Daytona Beach, why? Why are our residents having to go outside of our city if we are the biggest producer of jobs? Look at our hotels. Nobody has hotels like we have. Our car industry, nobody has car industry like ours. Nobody has an airport like ours. We are primary, we are the biggest of almost everything. Why are they leaving town to work?
And our next speaker is Frederick Brown.
Frederick Brown, 1508 Crescent Ridge. Thank you, Commissioner Paris, for bringing this up. And of course, you know how I feel about getting local jobs and using local people here in town. And every time I see proposals from the other end of the state or the country, it's disappointing. I attended the economic development meeting this morning, which didn't have a quorum, so they couldn't do anything. But they at least did read one of the county reports. And jobs, again, thank you, Commissioner Paris, for pointing it out. Once we get done building all the apartments out there in the swamps, you're going to have a lot of unemployed construction people. So we need jobs, and we need a diversification of jobs. So we need to start doing more for jobs in our area. The other resources we have here we're just not utilizing, and this is something I spoke very passionately at the Economic Development Advisory Board, was, you know, we've got all these universities and talent here in this town. And as Mr. Nicholson pointed out, these people are leaving. We're losing all this talent that we have. We should be using it. We should be partnering with these groups to get things done, such as the plans I've talked about, the Dutch solution to solve flooding. You know, that can be done here locally. A lot of jobs can be done there. You know, and I'll talk about this later in my 3-minute rant, but, you know, again, the jobs have got to go with this. Mr. Nicholson is correct on a lot of what he had to say about this, and it's not overstated. We do need to do this. And as far as the mayor, I agree. We were way overdue on, you know, getting the affordable housing. But I also agree with your mother. Let's not run forward in the wrong direction. Let's do it right. Let's do it correct. Thank you.
We got one more. Yeah.
Good evening. I'd like to thank you, Mayor, City Commissioner, City Manager, for your service to our community. I am Father Philly Gito of 201 University Boulevard, and I've been the pastor of Our Lady of Lourdes and I've been a member of, our church has been a member of faith for over 20 years now. I'm very excited to be here tonight to hear all of you discuss the Affordable Housing Trust Fund and linkage fees. It was only a few short years ago that Mayor Henry committed to do a nexus study. Speaking for myself and for our faith organization, I am very grateful for your leadership of our city right now and for hopefully taking the next giant step forward. Creating an affordable housing trust fund with a dedicated revenue source from linkage fees will change the lives of many in our community. The city has been generous in the past by supporting things like First Step Shelter and the affordable housing at Clyde Morris Landing. But an affordable housing trust fund will create systemic change for years to come. I want to encourage you not to limit the housing to workforce because we also need affordable for people making less than 80% of the AMI, which here is $67,000. We know that a lot more homeless folks could get help at the shelter if there were affordable housing to move people into after they get connected to services at First Step. For each dollar invested in a local housing trust fund, national data shows that they can receive $8 from federal and state grants as well as from private money. It is a good investment. According to our research, linkage fees are best used when a community is growing like our great city is. It only makes sense that the local residents benefit from the impact of that growth, and a linkage fee for affordable housing does just that. Over the last few years, Faith has done a lot of research, and we are very much willing to share it with all of you or any of you. Just call our office or just respond to our request to meet with you. We are looking for a win-win and want to support all of you as you strive to make our community a better place for all of us. Again, on behalf of Faith, thank you for leading the way and considering an affordable housing trust fund. We hope that you continue to support the creation and funding for this fund. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
I believe that was everyone who wanted to speak on the motion.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second, and we have any other comments? All right, all those in favor? All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay,
You have a mandate, let's go.
okay. Now it's commissioner comments.
Oh, it's commission comments?
And who did we start with?
Commissioner Reed, right?
Yes.
It's me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Senior Oasis, the Dickerson Center, Schnebley, Cherry Center, Golden Center, Sunnyland. Each of those centers has a commissioner that represents it. And I'm going to ask again tonight, because when we meet again, it will be too late. But once again, I find myself sponsoring a Senior Oasis Senior Prom. Thank you, Commissioner Henry, representing Golden, for agreeing to help support this event.
Commissioner Reed, I forgot to tell you, Commissioner May has agreed to support.
Hey, thank you, Commissioner May. That's the Dickerson Center. Representatives of Schnebley and Sunnyland, I'm Terry. I would really like if, I don't know, if you all would consider helping your seniors have a good night at the senior prom. There would be a full course meal. There will be dancing. They will have an opportunity to celebrate the outgoing of this year and the coming in of the next year. This project began with one of our employees who's since retired, Charles Bryant. Thank you. I knew it was a B, and I should know that name. And they look forward to it, and I'd like for us to continue it. Eventually, I'd like for it to become a part of somebody's budget, so I don't have to ask y'all for any more money. Agreed. But won't you consider joining me in celebrating our seniors?
Commissioner Reed, how much money did you give?
Well, it's going to cost a little over $6,000. So before she gave some, I was paying it all. So how much would you like to donate? I know Commissioner Henry gave $1,500. Commissioner May, I'm not sure of your amount. $500.
And how much are you giving?
The 4 is left.
The 4 is left?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys just split.
I'll give 1,000.
Okay.
Okay, so we're down to 3, right? I'll go 1,500 and split it with you.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Yay! I did meet with my, because I had had the Dickerson Center during my tenure, I wanted to treat them to lunch to say it's been a pleasure serving you. But staff had already programmed someone for lunch. And I thought we should have asked them would they move, but we asked them were they still coming. So they said, yeah. So what I did was I bought a sheet cake and I put the city seal on it. And I told them it was a pleasure to serve. And I had dessert with them and I served them cake. They're now Commissioner Mays, but I just wanted to have a nice little farewell. So I still have the Cherry Center. They still mine. But anywho, thank you all so much for supporting this initiative. Now, just want to tell you some stuff that's coming up. Y'all know I'm sponsoring a children's Christmas party. And this is in collaboration with Daytona Tortugas, because I just cannot get out of my mind, after we went through the storm last year, when that one mother came and said that the children were still afraid when it rained because of what all they had gone through. And I didn't get a chance to do this last year. We talked about it, but it was just so close to the time, and it was just going to be a rush on staff that I still wanted to do something for all of our children. It is between the ages of 3 to 12. However, we will not turn a child away. I did ask that they would consider bringing a non-perishable gift so that perhaps we could help with the food pantry of the shelter. So that was the entry. There's no fee. They'll just bring a perishable good. And if they don't bring that, I'm going to let them come. We're having refreshments, games, line dancing, a photo booth with Santa, the showing of the movie Elf, and running of the bases. Tortugas have some little things that they have, and our Parks and Recreation staff is going to help support having these events. We have another meeting on Friday. We're continuing to plan this event. And this is something else. If you'd like to support me, I will take your money.
You got the money.
And then the last thing I'd like to share with you that's happening, I'm partnering with the City of Daytona Beach, of course, with our police department, and with the Daytona Beach branch of the Links Incorporated. There's a program that's been mandated called PEACE. And PEACE is an acronym that stands for Police Engagement and Community Education. It's for our children to understand that they don't have to be afraid of the police, that a career in law enforcement might be even something that they engage in. So we're kicking it off with a social event. And the social event is a basketball game. So it's going to be the police and the students playing together. And this is open to middle school, high school, and Bethune-Cookman students, because we also have an HBCU initiative. So at this event, it's on November 9th, 2 weeks from tomorrow, from 6 to 9 at the Cherry Center. It's open to anyone. We're publicizing this wide. Team participation is open to middle, high, and Bethune-Cookman students, as I stated. Refreshments for attendees will be hot dogs, water, and chips. And then this is the first of 4 programs. What I'm projecting is, and we're doing one every semester. I don't want to burden the police. They got to keep us safe. But Chief says this is the type of programming they want to do so that our community knows they're community policing, that they're available, they're reachable, they're touchable. So we're starting with this social event. We also have planned a If You're Stopped by the Police panel, which will include like Judge Grimes and hints how to keep your kids out of jail. Some lawyers will be there. A judge will be there. And so that panel will be next. Then we have the Human Resources Department from perhaps ours as well, but definitely from law enforcement to say, what are some careers in law enforcement? Don't be afraid of law enforcement. And you don't have to be a police to be in law enforcement. You could be, like NCIS. Oh, that's my TV show. Okay, you could be, you could be an investigator. You could be a lieutenant. You could go in the military. So just understanding that there are careers in law enforcement. And then the last one, we're going to take them on a little tour, a little Scare Straight tour, and take them to the jail. Okay? So there are 4 different programs in this PEACE initiative to educate our community. And PEACE, I love the acronym is PEACE. I didn't make that up. That came with the national initiative. Police Engagement and Community Education. So engaging the young people and educating them about law enforcement and breaking barriers on them being afraid of the police.
What is that program costing you? Are you funding that in some way?
Yes, I'm funding this program.
I would love to support you in that. I like the concept of going to the jails. I like them seeing consequences. So I think that is a fantastic program. I'd love to be a part of it.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner.
I'll figure out the funding with the city. How much is it costing you? Do you know a number?
The first one is about $2,000 because we're only paying for the food.
Okay.
We'll bring it back once we give you
Yes.
the fees. We'll bring it back.
Okay. They got to break the fees down.
So far it's 2,000.
Yes.
Okay, so the 2,000, and it goes, is that for one event
That's
or
just for
4
one
events?
event.
It's for one event so far? Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that, but probably want to partner with you on all 4 of them. I think they're great. Would they also go into the Zone 3 area as well and do events there?
We can.
Dickerson or anything like that? I would love that. I would love to partner with you on that.
Yeah, where the events are, don't have to just be the Cherry Center.
Perfect.
We could take it somewhere.
If we could do Dickerson
come
as
to the
well,
Dickerson Center for-
I will partner with you down the road with that.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, you're also partnering with the Parks and Recreation, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Parks and
I've heard
Recreation,
about
Police Department, and the Links.
Okay.
Okay. Now, she's using the gym over there at Midtown, but your gym is not ready yet.
That's okay. We have still outdoor things we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Like a 20.
Okay.
We could set up something, but I'd love to have a police presence
Mhm.
in Dickerson also.
Mhm.
We use the archaeological park as well, but I like the residents seeing the police presence.
Mhm.
I like the teen side of that. I like the community presence. I like the police presence. I like the engagement with teens, and I like the whole feel of it. But I would love to bring it to the other side as well.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good work, guys.
Thank you, sir. That concludes my comments.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Commissioner Parrish.
It sounds so nice when you guys talk about having your own rec center. So, so I'm looking forward to the master plan for the Parks and Rec. And Mr. Brown will get a park, try the best we can for Zone 1. Thank you for putting together all these programs, everyone. I will try to get on board once I figure out what's going on up here. No, I'm only kidding. But if anyone needs a date for the senior prom, I'm available. And I don't have any other comments. Thank you. Love you, Daytona Beach.
I'm sorry. May I say something when she's talking about a date? Would anyone like to join me for the Western sponsored by the Links as my guest? Ken has a date. He has another plan. He can't go. It's a Western gala. It's in 2 weeks, right? It's the 28th.
28th.
The 28th.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not free? No, I just asked him first because I saw him first at the parade. And I was telling him to bring a date, but he already had plans.
Ken, I'm sorry, one more thing. And that homecoming parade was so much fun. It was like awesome just to see so many people out on MMB.
It
and
was.
I'm looking forward to us getting it to a point when there's going to be that many people there all the time.
All right.
Oh, did anyone go to the mural unveiling? Nobody ever talked about that. I wasn't there. I went by to see him, but I talked about it. I just wanted to know how it went that night.
It was beautiful.
It was great.
It was beautiful. It was
It was
exactly what we said it would be.
Okay. All right. That's very important, but I'll get to it in my comments. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Oh, I've been getting some phone calls about what used to be called the Jesus Motel over there at the corner of University and A1A. It keeps changing hands. The word I got from one of my zone residents today is that it's not under code enforcement anymore. It's under development. If there's somebody in the back, permits and licensing, or somebody to update me with what's going on with that, and preferably in writing so I can pass it out to the neighborhood over there. And here comes Mr. Morris. Thank you, sir.
Jim Morris, Deputy City Manager, in regard to the property that you referred to, Commissioner, they have submitted for building permits, but I'll be honest with you, the way they have gotten permits, preserved the permits, and so on, they haven't done a lot to do what they should do to fix the property. It has been enough to keep them out of code enforcement. I will give you a written report regarding the permit submission, the work that's included, and so on. I know they have submitted for permits. I've talked to the permits and licensing people about that. I'm aware of what you said in respect to code. I understand that it is no longer in code enforcement proceedings because they do have permits supposedly to correct the property. I looked at it a few days ago and it really doesn't look much different than it's looked, I think, probably as long as I've been looking at it.
Well, that was my thinking too. I mean, over the last 20 years, it's been sitting there and they'll condemn it. The sign comes down, changes hands.
Yes, sir.
They'll do a little work around the windowsill or something, and then it changes hands again. And it's either time for somebody to fix it and fix it fast, or tear it down and get it out of our eyesight.
I'll follow up with permits, licensing, and code, give you a written report on everything and publish that through the manager's office to everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
That's it.
Commissioner May?
So I attended there's a picture of all of us in the newsletter, Commissioner Strickland, Commissioner Paris, Mr. Mayor was there as well, for the opening of the park. It seems like it was a bit longer, but it was just really on the 10th, right? It was a little bit ago. Sorry, on the 6th. So fantastic event, well attended. What was really interesting was that 3 areas were activated. Magnolia was activated, as well as there being an opening for Gallery Elan. So we had people, arts people, they had some artisans and food trucks, really good synergy. To piggyback off that, people loved it, so please go there. To piggyback off that, I'm on the DDA, and this year we have over 23 events for the downtown area. Now remember, the way that it's funded is that the merchants downtown, and I'm one of them, we pay an extra millage rate. So we pay extra funds that goes into a special fund that then's used for our events downtown. That's how we're funding it. But the events we're having are music events, they're food events, they're art events, and we're being very consistent with it. So we're hoping that the combination of the downtown park, along with the events, builds more and more people to the entire area. So look forward to seeing a lot of really neat things happening in the downtown core. The Kids Fair, this weekend we're having over 100 vendors, I believe, who are children. They've made different items. They're with their parents. They have tents. They keep growing. They keep growing each time, right? And I'm totally impressed that the kids and their parents are out there. I mean, okay, if you know them, you're forking out some money. I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. It's in the.
Get it because I don't have it on my calendar.
It's in the. It's in our.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's in there. But the kinds of things they come up with and their selling technique is great. So I'm all for that. This week, I also went for lunch, and I want to know if we understand what's going on with something. Went to the Dickerson Center, and I wanted to try out this lunch program that we have, which I think it's fantastic. I mean, you get a free lunch every day from 11:30 to 12:30, plus there are events there that you can engage in. I'm not understanding, we've been promoting it, we've been telling people. I found out on the first day there were 100 people who showed up. When I walked in, there were maybe 15. There were maybe 5 people sitting around each table. It's open to all Daytona Beach residents. They have a menu online. I looked at the math, right? So I have some clients who eat out every day. Maybe a single gentleman eats out every day. He spends maybe $25 with maybe 30 with tipping, getting a beverage, and buying lunch. He doesn't finish his lunch. He takes it home for dinner. Automatically, you're saving about $15, $20 a day. If you would go there for lunch, over 65, they're very kind, they're very friendly, they have some music on as well. It's open to any Daytona Beach resident. The menu is great. He had glazed chicken with green beans, and I think it was some rice. The meal was great. So I want to put that out there. Please go and try it. It's a wonderful program. So while I'm there, they didn't know who they were dealing with. They were talking about, I love when they say little girl. I always start with little girl. We're talking about bingo and whatnot, and I was going to come and do some stuff with them, give them some prizes for bingo. And then they said, well, we like fitness. And then they told me that they had music as well. And I said, really, what kind of fitness? And they said, chair fitness. I said, okay. So I said, well, I'm happy to help you with that. They didn't know what I do professionally as well. So the lady hands me a piece of paper, and I said, what is this? And apparently you read the instructions. So I'm supposed to stand there and read off, okay, bend, touch. And I said, oh, we don't need that. And then off we went. And we had a very nice, maybe 15, 20-minute fitness experience using their music. I've got to up their music a little bit. They're way lively. There was a lady there who was 95 years old. She got up, stood up, and was able to move and do something. We started in the chair. We started beside the chair, behind the chair. I completely enjoyed the experience. Completely enjoyed it. So consequently, I will be inviting more people that I know to come from all over town. It's just a nice afternoon, but they're communicating with each other. They're seeing each other. They're going to stay healthy. And most importantly, they're going to age in their homes.
In their homes.
In their homes. And they're going to have people who, if they're not there, will say, where is so-and-so? Why aren't you coming? And all of those are extremely preventative, healthy ways of living. So I thought I would share, and I will be promoting that at Dickerson everywhere. So tell your people to come. Bring them in groups. I'm actually driving people there myself and saying, I want to take you somewhere for lunch. That's how I'm doing it. Okay?
That's good. You drive them there and give them an experience.
I go with them. I go with them. Yeah. Oh, I've met their their children. I said, I want you to take your parent over there, all over Zone 3, but please come. It's such a worthwhile program. And I would hate to lose the program because not enough people are going. I'd rather have them expand the program. I think that would be fantastic if we could do that. Good. The lunch starts 11:30 to 12:30, but they start at 9 o'clock in the morning. And this is not the Meals on Wheels thing. This is nothing like that. This is a hot meal, but it's well balanced. I asked one lady, I said, is it the seasoning? Like, do you need more seasoning or something? Do they have to spice it up a bit? And she said she just brings her own spices or sauces. I met somebody there who was Russian, who was American, people from the neighborhood. I met a lady there who walks 1.5 miles there, has lunch, and goes back 1.5 miles. She's 82. She was quite proud of it. I met a gentleman there, Italian gentleman. He was happy to be up and dancing, and they want to move. So please come and visit them or come and participate. Just have the meal. Bring a friend. Thank you.
This is sponsored by Counseling on Aging, right?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
But it's also the Nancy Lohman program. It's a
And
very
it's
good
in the
program.
back in the McKell room.
Yes, it's in the secondary building in the back. Just walk in and give them your address, and that's it. Anyone in any part of our zone in Daytona Beach can go. Please go. Thank
I
you.
need to get the flyer on that so I can get, I've heard about it and I know about it. I've seen them doing it, but I need to help promote it.
I'm going to try to get the numbers out quickly.
Okay,
I don't want them to dance.
great. And I love the fact that you don't want them to dance.
Oh, yeah. My final goal is I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to manifest it. I would love for them to have a dance there. I would love for when they come in the daytime for their meetings, that they have maybe a 30-minute moment where if they want to get up and dance, they can. If it's not just organized, but there's actual music that's generational that they can appreciate. And we might not have City Island to dance at anymore because I used to rent that for dancing, but I might have this. This is interesting to me. It was very exciting, very exciting.
Good.
Mr. Mayor, before you move on, and piggybacking on Commissioner May, since this, what I'm about to say, involves her, she and I had an opportunity on Friday night.
Crabs, the sand crabs, the reunion.
School on the Ocean Blue. Sea breeze. Well, the class of 73, which was the first African-American class to graduate from Seabreeze. They went there in 71, and they graduated in 73, celebrated 50 years of having graduated from Seabreeze High School. And they recognized myself and Commissioner May for serving our community, me more so because I am a Seabreeze grad. And I think they had invited Commissioner Paris, but she wasn't able to join us. And so that was really nice to hang with them, to see them. I mean, you know, I don't know what age is supposed to look like, particularly since I'm getting older. Look like people were just older when we were older, but now that we're the older ones, I still feel young. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. You know, I just had a birthday. But they look great. I'm thinking these people are 5 years older than me, and they still look great, didn't they? So we really had a good time Friday night supporting them with that. And then also after the game Saturday, I gave greetings at the airport to the class, the 45th anniversary of a class that graduated from Bethune-Cookman. So
And before I forget, because we were at that same event, we were at that event, and then I went to the Speakeasy event. So we have a new little venue that opened up downtown, Palmetto. It's a Speakeasy, little knock on the door, and then somebody escorts you downstairs, and there's live jazz. It happens Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's going to happen continuously every single Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Live music, fantastic. He's really building a presence in the downtown courts right behind City Hall over here on Palmetto. So, I mean, it's interesting how we can go places and then each commissioner goes to a different event, because that way we're dividing and conquering, but we're supporting all the events. There are so many events to attend literally in one day or one night. It's hard to choose sometimes.
Yeah.
So that becomes a little bit much, but fantastic. We have really nice cultural things happening.
Question for you, don't have much, but, Preserve at LPGA. Can you hear me? Okay. Preserve at LPGA. I have a question. Supposedly at our stadium, we put some kind of fence up. Are you aware of that in the parking lot?
I don't, what do you mean by
some
some
kind-
some of our stadium is fenced off.
Yes, we just put up some fencing or something. Do you know anything about it? Okay, because I haven't been out there. Well, according to some of the residents at Preserva LPGA, we put some kind of fencing up around our parking lot, and I guess there's some kind of opening, and so every time there's games, their streets are being flooded with vehicles in their yards, their driveways, and actually, they sent me a lot of pictures of the last game, and they're saying there's something that they're being able to cut through to our stadium. Can we check that out and see?
Yeah, but I don't, there's no entrance from the stadium. There's a cul-de-sac, I think.
It says, are
Field.
people are able to walk through where they put the fence up by the stadium parking lot?
I actually think that the preserves put up a fence there, but I'll look at
You
it.
double check on that? Okay. Because I've received a lot of complaints and pictures, and actually down the road, I mean, if you notice, the roads are very small, just like Bayberry. I mean, they have lines and lines of cars.
Yeah, David, you may know.
David Waller, Public Works Director. The fence I think she's referring to is in the access road or kind of emergency access route that's between the neighborhood and the stadium. And the neighborhood installed a fence to try to
Yeah,
prevent
we didn't-
passage. When they built the neighborhood and redid the ditch and swale, there was an old wire fence between the stadium and the wooded parcel that was a neighborhood, and we required them to restore the fence in the area that was disturbed, and they did it with a chain link fence, but it can be walked around. It was
Okay,
put
yeah,
in by
because
the
I'm
neighborhood.
getting a lot of complaints, and I received pictures, which I'll send to you. There was cars everywhere in that neighborhood.
I know
I mean,
that-
they couldn't even get to their homes, some of the residents.
Traffic and our traffic staff as well as PD posted the neighborhood as no parking for the event temporarily, but I don't know how
Yeah,
well
there's
it
still
was
parking.
heated too. Sure, it's the same
I'm
with the
wondering-
right of way on LPGA is posted the same way, but it gets overwhelmed. Right.
I'm wondering if they can maybe, I guess they could have HOA and they could stand out there and
They can HO or tow it, but.
turn right and
Well,
they
they're-
could actually tow the vehicles.
They're public
But they're
streets.
public
The
streets, so
neighborhood
they can't park
can't
So
tow.
they can't,
No, ma'am.
okay.
The city would have to do it through enforcement, through PD or otherwise. They are public streets.
Okay, so if I send you the pictures, because I received a lot of pictures and videos, if we can see if we can do something, because they say that happens every time we have games at the stadium.
Yeah, no, we'd be happy to take a look at the pictures, and I know the neighborhood did reach out, and we posted a bunch of temporary signage between our staff and PD. You know, the success of the weekend was a heavy use of the park and ride system. I think it went very successfully. We had 600 cars in the park and ride, and PD did a great job of getting the bus there and not letting them sit in traffic. So hopefully that continues to be successful. Maybe the next game we'll get a few hundred more cars, and there'll be less looking for parking
See,
by the
there was
stadium.
no complaints. I mean, I warned them all that we were having a game, no complaints from residents. That was the only actually neighborhood that was clean.
From our perspective, it was the best game traffic-wise, and never backed up on 92.
Right.
The park and ride system, I mean, celebrate that and encourage people to use it. It's been huge.
Okay. And is there some way to block that where they can't walk?
You know, there's a ditch that runs along that stretch there. We can look a little closer at it. You know, part of the agreement with the PUD when they built it was to restore the fence. And then they hardened it with a bigger fence this year because last year they had the same issue. We can take a little better look at it. But I think, you know, folks are determined, man. When they they see the countdown, they smell the barbecue, they're going to find a way to get there. So
Correct.
they're working on it. Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate it.
You
Thank
bet.
you. And actually, that's it.
Take a charge on the parking issue.
Oh, I do have one. The third trunk or treat will be on Halloween, 6 to 8. And we were having it at City Island. We did have to move it to,
City Hall.
Thank you, City Hall. But we did have to move it to City Island Park at 113 Jackie Robertson Parkway because it grew quite a bit. There will be face painting, food, games, costume contest. And I want to say thank you to Commissioner Henry for helping to sponsor this event as well.
Okay. All right, is that it? I believe I had a lot, but I'm sort of exhausted. Oh, I thought you already went. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We started with Commissioner Reed.
I did.
So I pulled up the rear with Meet the Commissioner. What a wonderful event it was. And I just want to say that staff is amazing. Like, they do an amazing job of making sure that when you get there, everything is done, everything is set up. All you have to do is come in and present. And I know that that takes a lot of work because the chairs are set up, you know, tables, videos, cameras everywhere. And sometimes I just don't think that we give staff enough credit for the hard work that they do to help us look good and to make us shine so that we can do our job effectively. And so I just want to say, like Ms. Askew and Charles and Andrew over at the center did a fantastic job with the Meet the Commissioner. So we did the homecoming parade, and I absolutely am in agreement with Commissioner Paris with the homecoming event and the actual game. And it is just so great to see the diversity and the community come together, and you get to see so many diverse people, and it shows you just how diverse the city of Daytona Beach is, and how diverse our events are. So, like to see more of that. And
That's the one day she's a Wildcat.
yeah, I was a Wildcat.
But in November, she goes back to being a Rattler.
I coached and coached and coached at the game. I don't think anybody coached more than me at upstairs. I was coaching because I wanted to win so bad. And I'm like, this guy, one of the coaches that he's upstairs, one of the upstairs coaches, he's like, "You're really coaching?" I said, "And can you believe I'm a Rattler? I don't know what's going on." So I do support the home team every day except for November 17th. I don't want you all to know that I went to the book event. This was the best event ever, just to see. I've never seen 32,000 books stacked up like that before. So, and I'm talking hardback books, not little cheap, flimsy books, nice books, hardback books. And I'm a new mommy. I have a new 6-month-old. So my great niece came to live with me, and he went to get his books. And so he got quite a few, maybe 20 books to start his library because he didn't have a library. So I was so grateful to be able to go with him and to start his library. And he's already started learning by chewing all of the books. And as you know, that's how babies learn. Their first sense of learning is putting things in their mouth and chewing. So he is chewing his books and enjoying his books. So I want to thank everyone for the mayor for putting that event on and being able to start his library and seeing so many people, young people, get to come in and have a home library. People do not know how little access children have to books in their homes. They only have access to books that they get at school, and the school can only provide so much. You know, I know we provided the book vending machine, and that's maybe, one book per child per year in the whole school. So to be able to have an event where the children can come and get multiple books to increase their vocabulary and to increase their learning for the year, like every year, I'm 10 toes down for it. And that's my last comment. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, could I ask a question of the city manager, please?
Yes, ma'am.
I was at the meeting. Thank you. So much happens. Thank you for reminding me about the community meetings. I had mine on the 10th, and a question came up about county funding with regard to the hurricane. Do we have any updates? You and I spoke, but could you share the updates that you gave me, please?
Real quick, to let everyone know, there are citizens who think that the money has come to the city of Daytona Beach. No money will be given to any municipality. All the money will be funded through the county. They will start hosting workshops in our community. I know they have worked with certain groups that they're going to be looking at going to our Cherry Center, maybe even the Dickerson Center in Schnebly, but we will be pushing that information out But I just want everyone to know that no money is coming to any municipality. Our citizens will have to work through the county, and we're going to make sure that it's available to the county. I know that they've spoken with local chapter of our NAACP and groups to have information too, and our different facility leaders about bringing people and making sure the citizens get access to it. But it's no need to call Ken Thomas and his team because he's not getting any money. It's going to be done from the county level.
I wrote down my thing. I wrote some things down. I don't remember what I was going to talk about. No. I always have a backup. It has been said that the single biggest predictor of high academic achievement is reading to children. Not flashcards, not workbooks, not blinking toys, no computers, but mainly a mom and a dad or an aunt or an uncle taking time every day or night or both to sit and read wonderful books to children. And so with that being said, I would like for us to continue to be as a community on a mission. And I've been on this mission really for the last 7 or 8 years to just immerse our children in the sea of information, and it primarily through books, but also through art, through music, through dance. Each time that I go to the Scarlett Golden Center, I am reminded that it is the Education and Culture Center, because she was a mayor who, like myself, was a principal and passionate about education, passionate about art and teaching children, and not just the use of balls for our young men and women to grow and evolve. And as an old coach, I do a little bit of both, because I use the ball and the gym to expose kids to books and information and other aspects of life. I like them both. It's beautiful to see you having an opportunity and using your gift and what you love. To me, there's nothing better. I mean, and it's almost basketball season. We are getting ready for the training leagues of basketball in terms of the free clinics. I have been fortunate to been able to take a group of young men pretty much every Sunday, maybe once or twice a month, and work them out 2 hours on Sundays, sometimes on Saturdays. We've been purchasing more equipment so that we will be able to turn these community centers into, training grounds. Because when you put balls and books in kids' hands, they attach themselves to you, and they, I know oftentimes when I say I'm the mayor, but when I step onto a court, it's a beautiful thing when they see me both as mayor and a person who's just teaching them free of charge how to do things that they really like doing. And so I'm saying all of that to say that I never dreamed in my wildest imagination that I would grow up as a kid in the city that I was born and raised in and see so many great things happening. And to be a part of a group of people that's helping to make those things happen. You guys, you're creating jobs, you're creating housing, you are, and this is with taxpayers' money, but you're creating housing, you're paving streets, you're making sure that the projects tonight that you brought in, and you're talking about police interacting with our young people. For years we didn't have trunk or treat, we lost it. And so this has been you guys have been a very activist and engaged commission. And I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that we've been able to in a lot of ways, we've always been engaged, but we've been able to do more things because of those ARPA funds. And I want residents to know that a lot of times when you hear things that we're doing and that we're able to support, it's because the federal government gave $65 billion to cities. Over 15 million of it came to Daytona Beach. And a lot of the ways that we're using it, those last dollars are through things like a lot of the projects and initiatives that you hear us up here talking about. But when you hear those projects and you see, you know, the events and things that we're supporting, you see where your commission's heart is, you know, and it's really with you, the residents. So it's an honor to serve. It's an honor to serve with each of you. And I know tonight, for many of you might feel like it was rough, but I'm one of those people who I agree, I disagree, I wake up, I move on, because the work is bigger than my feelings, it's bigger than my opinion, it's just bigger than me. And when I leave, the work will still be here when all of us leave. But we value the work because it's worthy of our time. At this time, do you have anything, Mr. Manda? You have anything? Now, I want to remind our residents, you are who we serve, but as you are coming tonight, make certain that you're directing your remarks to the commission. To the commission. We're not after any one situation or individual, but to the commission. And you're welcome, you're loved and appreciated, residents of Daytona Beach.
Our first speaker is Cynthia Slater, and on deck is Daisy Grimes.
Good evening. It's been a long night. I am Cynthia Slater, president of the NAACP here in Daytona. And the NAACP is the largest and oldest civil rights organization in the country. At 114 years old, we are nonpartisan. We have no permanent friends. We have permanent issues. And if you don't know the history of the NAACP, the organization was founded by white Americans, Black Americans, and Americans of Jewish descent. But I want to thank Mayor Derrick Henry for his open-mindedness and sincere concern for the education of children in Daytona Beach when it comes to reading and other things. The book giveaway held at the Dickerson Center was exceptional. Children and parents came from throughout the city, from every zone in Daytona, to receive free books for kids. It was ironic that this event was held at this location, a facility that was once the segregated all-black high school and later elementary school in Daytona Beach, affectionately known as Campbell Street High School, then Campbell Street Elementary, for it was the perfect location to hold such an event. Campbell High, like all black schools in the South, even through post-Brown versus Board, were given used and worn books with pages torn out. With determination, students and teachers that attended and taught at this school during segregation had to piece pages of textbooks together. Students excelled academically and graduated from high school, went to college and graduated, becoming teachers, professors, doctors, nurses, and lawyers. The day of the book giveaway, volunteers assisted hundreds of students, parents, and guardians, organizations, and educators from different backgrounds with selecting books of their choice, knowing that all children, no matter what race, religion, or background, was able to come into the Dickerson Center, a place that was once a school for black children, a building that represented education and freedom to learn, could come and choose books to read, study, and learn about people, places, and things. As adults, we should be proud and supportive of children wanting to pick up a book rather than picking up a gun, regardless of where the event took place, as long as the event took place in a reasonable and an appropriate location. There were some that made giving books away political. However, it didn't work, and those voices were drawn out by the community. I asked those who are all of a sudden so interested in what goes on in and around Midtown, Where were you when we were underwater? Where were you when we needed the support that we had to come to the commission? And I appreciate the commission for supporting the community when we were underwater. How dare you try to limit the education of our children when it comes to reading? I have so much more to say.
We'll be here. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Daisy Grimes, and on deck is Becky Harbor.
A long night. When I was working in city government, we used to have them long because we were trying to get rid of all the people we thought we were going to have confrontation with. I hope that's not why we're here so late tonight, Mr. Mayor. I had promised some people I was not going to say anything tonight. I'm not living up to that. I have to say something because I was kind of disappointed when I heard some statements made. All of you know me, know I'm very emotional. But tonight when we stood up and pledged allegiance to that flag, we said one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All of you sitting up there know that has not been the truth in this country. And we know what's going on in our state now, where we have a governor who is trying to turn the hands of times back. All of this woke movement, y'all better stay woke, because not to be woke means you're damn sleep. Oh, excuse me. Didn't mean to say that. But it means that you're asleep. And we can't afford to be asleep now in 2023. The book giveaway was great, Mr. Mayor. I commend all of you commissioners for being bold enough to take a stand and say we're going to do it. I did call 2 commissioners when I heard that there was some concern, and I shared my concern with them. We must keep our personal agenda aside. We must look at not being nonpartisan, but when the good outweigh partisan, be partisan if you have to. When the good outweighs it. Stay woke. Do what you have to do. Be bold enough to stand up to those who don't understand where we need to be going in this community. We want to have a community where all people will stand up, look at that flag, and feel that they are treated justly. You gave books to kids whose parents would never be able to afford books like that. So if it is partisan, what the heck? You helping some child learn to read. I'm going to leave this with you. Hopefully you will give it to each elected official. It is Mayor McLeod Bethune's letter and speech on democracy. And maybe reading that will help you understand what democracy is all about. And then also, I have some information about VCAP because that's who I'm representing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And we're going to put them in the mailbox. That's okay. We're going to put them in the mailboxes to make sure that they get them. Okay. Our next speaker is Becky Harbor, and on deck is Chris Bollinger.
Hi, and thank you for this opportunity. My name is Becky Harbor. I've come to you today from Atlanta, Georgia. On February 23rd, 2021, my husband was at Select Specialty Hospital here in Daytona Beach. We were sent to Halifax Hospital. We were there about 2 months, and on February 23rd, 2021, I was approached by Detective Tiara King from Daytona Beach Police. She told me that I would be trespassed from the hospital and that there had been an allegation that I had removed a breathing device from my husband. The course of events that would happen from that false allegation would be that my husband was isolated from all family members. No friends, no video, no ADA accommodations, nothing. He never knew what happened to me. That went on for 3 months. The next event that would happen
would be that the case manager at Halifax with 2 insurance policies, we had United Healthcare, we had Medicare, I made sure that we had excellent insurance. She used this story, the case manager, to give to every Medicare facility that United Healthcare that we could go to back to our home state of Georgia, to keep us from going into that facility. At the time, I had no idea. I was innocent. I had no earthly idea why she would do such a thing. I would only find out after my husband died in an autopsy. The story that I give you is not isolated. It is not unusual. Right now in Venice, Florida, you have one of the biggest cases in Florida with Maya Kowalski. I'm sure you all have heard it. It's been on People magazine. It's all over the state of Florida. It is very similar to my case. Instead of a child and the mother committing suicide because they did the same thing that I've described to you, there would also be the Orlando case with Adventist Hospital versus DeStefano. He was taken from his mother on these same kind of allegations. My story, Becky Harbor with Adam Walzer, is on Tampa News. That hospital you see on that picture is Halifax Hospital. To the end of this story, because I've only got 30 seconds, I have come to your police department on 2 occasions. I needed the department to file pictures of the wounds that my husband died of. Yes, it is a civil issue, but that false police report needs to be addressed by your chief of police. Refused to let me speak to the chief of police, and I have come here today to ask for someone to address this with the police department here in Daytona.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a Chris Bollinger? Okay. Our next speaker is Chris Bollinger, and on deck is John Nicholson.
Hi, I'm Chris Bollinger, and I live up on Point of Woods Drive in Indigo. And I'm only asking that you consider slowing down some of the exponential growth along Williamson, Clyde Morris, Hand Avenue, LPGA. If we just could take a little breath to see how the traffic kind of settles in. You've got Oasis you just passed today. That's going to be a huge complex. So with all the apartments and all the businesses coming in, it's great, but we need to take a little minute and not just keep building. And on the marketplace that is going to go in, on Indigo, remember Indigo Drive is a scenic thoroughfare, so the buffers need to remain for the traffic. And if we could just put in signs that say no right-hand turn from their ingress, so that way they don't come back into the subdivision, so to speak. And we keep the signs, when you come in from 95 or ISB, you have, there's you can't go straight across from the mall into Indigo, or you can't turn right from Staples. You can't turn right to go that way. They did that back in the 80s to prevent people from driving through. So if we could keep those signs like that, and then maybe just put a no right-hand turn, that would alleviate a lot of the marketplace traffic and the new apartment buildings from going through the city. So if that's, in the buffers, and then definitely the wastewater, that was a huge issue. So if we could just keep those kind of things in mind when we're approving things, it would really help us little tiny homeowners out a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is John Nicholson, and on deck is Marjorie Johnson.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. Before I forget, on those last 2 issues with regard to Indigo, the developer said that they will build a new station. They will build a new entrance during the meeting. So those things have been addressed. But I want you to get the idea that they're not doing it. A couple of things. One, the trust fund, the county has put in a trust fund for affordable housing. I suggest that we do the same, but I'd be very careful about linkage fees. Paying an additional $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 may not seem a lot to you, but it does mean a lot when people are trying to buy a home, especially with the interest rates being as high as they are. Cornelia May had a meeting at the Dickerson Center 20 years ago. Scarlett Golden had a meeting at the Dickerson Center. Could not understand a word she said. The sound system was horrible. I was told that it would be corrected. They would put a new sound system. Could not hear a word Cornelia May said. I think it's the same sound system. So I would ask that you look at it. If we have not fixed it in 20 years, I suggest we do so. Third, on 10A, which was pulled, I'm asking you to consider contacting Kelly White, George Burton, and Tracy Remark. They were commissioners, but they stayed active.
They did.
Some of the others have not, but Burton's on a board, Kelly White's on a board downtown, Tracy Remark is a pain in the butt, but she's very active. So all of those would be great additions if you have to do that. Leasing property, I found out that we lease property on Palmetto. It adjoins city property. I'm suggesting to you, instead of keep leasing property, buy the property. So at some point in time, we'll have a huge piece of property downtown that we can RFP and build something, rather than having to buy it in another 5 or 10 years at 10 times the price. Lastly, Mayor, you probably don't remember, but about 12 years ago, you came walking through the neighborhood on Beach Side. We had a discussion, and I told him, all right, well, he assumed that I would vote for the opponent because he's black, she's white. I'm going to do that. I said, no, okay, I have a problem with both of you, all right? But I don't care what your decision is as long as you can back up what you say. So if I like something and he doesn't, but he has a valid reason, so be it. I didn't like the Esplanade. That's not what I pictured for downtown. But I didn't have $36 million to do it. High Brown did. It's fantastic. So I'm not always right. Well, yes, I'm always right, of course. However, it is something that I oppose, but it turned out to be fantastic. So whatever you do, especially with the development, look at it carefully, and if you have a valid reason, vote for the development.
John, if I thought all white people was going to vote for Edith Shelley, then why would I have talked to white people? Well, what did you say?
I said me.
Well, why would I assume you?
Pardon?
Why would I assume you? Why would I talk to you? If I assume, that's what you're doing. You're saying exactly what I just said.
No, you're asking why would I assume that I was white? Because I am.
My time to speak.
No, sit down. Wait a minute.
He's gone.
You got to wait. I just have to get that clear because I just want to make sure that we don't go away a divided community. We have a lot of things tonight that your time is up. And what you said didn't make sense. And I want our community to know that anybody who sits up here that's worth salt will talk to anybody about their vote. Because that's what I did. That's why I talked to you. Whether I got it or not didn't matter. I won't get what you don't ask for. Go ahead, Ms. Johnson.
You took part of my time.
No, we
Your
didn't
time is
start
3 minutes, ma'am. You want 3 minutes and 10 seconds? Give her 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
I can't do that.
I'll give her 10 seconds more.
Okay, Marjorie Johnson, Key Street, Daytona Beach. I'm here tonight to speak about the AMVETS, and I met with the city manager when he came in here and addressed the fact that that building is in deplorable condition. It's in Zone 6, and it's gotten worse. Well, it may not be, but it's been there all along. I don't like to be interrupted, but I'm speaking very unprofessional. It's part of my time. So I like to say that that's the part of our problem too. We don't have access to our commissioner in Zone 6. We've been trying to meet with her for the past 6 years. She hasn't addressed any of our concerns, and it's a disgrace. I'd like to say that when we first got here, for years,
the residents spoke before, and the commissioner spoke at the end, under Bud Asher, Scarlett Golden, Glenn Ritchie, under all of Kelly, Carpinello, and then when our mints was taken from us, then you put yourself before the residents. If you go into Port Orange, you go into South Daytona, all these people are part of my social media, Port Orange, Holly Hill, all of them. And their meetings, the residents are speaking and the board speaks last, which that's the way it should be. And it's not about you, it's about us. When they interviewed me in the paper and they did the 2-page article, they put in there that I was responsible, and which that is true, for getting the residents back in the city commission meeting, because I stayed and addressed it, the injustice until it was corrected. So injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. You're here to represent the residents, and you need to do your job that you're getting paid to do. I'd just like to say, too, that the number one issue here at Daytona Beach is crime. It's been in the media. Everyone knows that. So in the future, when you're paying money from the account here, $1,000, and only 2 people show up for the crime banquet that they had, that's a disgrace. I got a call from Will, and he let me know what had gone on. So we need to be about the people's business. You need to do your jobs that you're here to do, and I don't see that happening. And Monica is doing a good job. Ken Strickler is doing an outstanding job. These are the people we want to elect to serve us, people who will be accessible to your constituents. So I say to you, get to work, do your job, and stop fooling around.
Our next speaker is Frederick Brown, and on deck is Father Phil. I believe he's gone. And on deck is Jenny Bazak.
I don't like this new mic either. Frederick Brown, 1508 Crescent Ridge, Daytona Beach. What was that famous quote that I heard a little while? Boy, it's been a long night. Yeah, I'm glad that a police officer's been standing there since the beginning. I'm glad we didn't get the boxing gloves. This is a diverse community, and I'm proud to be part of it. And I will say this much about books, and I really appreciated what you had to say, Mayor. Books, yes. I also appreciate some of the stuff that Ms. Cantu brought out, Commissioner Cantu. Political exploitation of our children is not okay. And unfortunately, with our society that we live in, you know, there's a lot of false information out there. And those of you who aren't aware of what AI can do with this false information, it's pretty incredible. So the most neglected guy today was our city attorney. And I thought you'd never hear me say this, but you know, Ben had a good point. We could put something in the verbiage to get politics out of what we're doing so we can have our books, we can have our kids, we can learn together, we can grow together, and not have all this controversy. So I hope you take him up on what he started to say that everybody just kind of walked past. Once again, I'm going to remind you about flooding. You just approved tonight, you know, 7-0 is our favorite quote here in Daytona. 9E, have any of you actually walked that property out there? You ever tried to drive a car out there? It's a swamp. Even in the dry time, it's a swamp. So the statement made by one of the other residents, you're going to find out what it's like. That flooding is going to continue. And as you develop that water's got to go somewhere. And I know you sit there and say, well, zoning was changed years ago. That doesn't change the fact that the water is still going to flood. So we got to start being more proactive. You know, when we did the study, the Army Corps of Engineers, we all waited 2 years for, back in 2008. And then we promptly ignored a good portion of that. Now, I'm proud to say I got friends all over Daytona, Midtown, Newtown, people that were affected by this because the mayor at the time chose only to pick out cherry projects that benefited his businesses. The people that lived in Newtown got totally, well, we'll just wait till it's federal money. Well, we waited, and what happened? Slater had to take out her boots again. All right? And you're going to see it out in LPGA, too, for those of you who've escaped to that part of the town. I've tried to warn you, flooding is coming, and we got to be more proactive. We got to get on board with some of these solutions. One other closing remark about books. Please see the movie Gifted Hands. It shows what books can do instead of guns. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jenny Nazak. On deck is Pierre Lewis.
One Harvey. I once heard of a study that said that in a household with 80 books or more, the kids had a much better chance of thriving. It was like 80 books or more. And I grew up in a house that easily had like 800 books in it. And we were a military family. We moved like every 2 years with however many 800 books. And you do notice. And my parents were super strict, but they had this mysterious loophole. My mom never checked what library books I was bringing home. I just brought anything home that I wanted. I think she probably knew, and she's like, just glad the kid's reading. Anyway, that was a fantastic event. I didn't get to actually go to the event. I had to go to a funeral, but it was wonderful to help set up. It was beautiful, and it made me proud. And our different centers, like Dickerson Center and Cherry Center, all of our parks and centers around town make me proud. And I've never once been to one of the facilities on the mainland and had someone say, oh, wait, you're from the beach side, you can't be here. Like, the parks are for everybody, the centers are for everybody. Like, to me, it feels really cozy. Like, oh, I'm welcome here, I get to be here. And not everything always feels cozy, and those places do. Also, I want to praise each and every one of you who dare to serve in government. Like, you all deserve respect just for putting yourselves out there and dealing with all of this. And we are going to always have controversies, and we're not always going to agree on stuff. But if we can have conversations, and then we're going to wake up again tomorrow and we still have to work together, or get to work together. I'm always harping on transportation, and it's not just for selfish reasons, but none of us are getting any younger, and it's better if our town isn't totally car dependent. Maybe some of these developments out in the swamp need to be like the mini Venice of Daytona. Maybe they need to be boating communities, and maybe all the canals need to be interconnected and then connected to the Intercoastal Waterway. And that'll totally go with my futuristic zip line system and all the things that I envision. So we don't have to be dependent on cars. We shouldn't be dependent on cars. And I want to talk about one of my favorite types of lift station. It is called an oak tree. We should have such great reverence for oak trees and all of our other trees and all of nature. Thank you all. Have a beautiful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Pierre Lewis, and on deck is Stephen Miller.
Mayor, before he speaks, I want to say one more thing. This thing was not about books to me. And I've said it a million times, but I don't think people realize it's not about books. And then there was something else that was brought up tonight about the flooding. I worked very hard on that flooding, and someone right there probably can tell you because he supplied every picture that went to the governor and Michael Walsh. And we did get the Army Corps here.
Go ahead.
Pierre Lewis, 130 South Franklin Street. I actually didn't have any comments until the mayor mentioned about the mural, and I wanted to speak to that. There's kind of two things my friends say that I'm passionate about speaking about. One is Midtown, and the other part is being an American. Because I still think after 20-some countries I've been to, this is the best place in the world. I saw that when the mural was done, Mr. Mayor. There was, I saw the individuals that own the Midtown Cafe, when they came to Midtown, they didn't see obstacles. They saw an opportunity. So when they decided to put that mural that's there, it was the embodiment of all that opportunity that they saw here. When that event took place that day, for the event, you saw people from all over. You didn't know whether from Midtown or from Uptown or from Newtown. You just knew that they were Americans that were there. It was a great event. I saw some of the commissioners that were there, and that was a fantastic event. It was a time where you saw someone, they didn't have to think where they were coming across the bridge or across the tracks. They just knew they were coming into Daytona Beach. And that's what I liked about the event. And then the other thing, to close on a good note, one of the things about that a Marine officer has to do is swim crawls. I can swim a little bit, but that crawl stroke always gives me something else. So when you approved for that Campbell Street pool, I went there every single day. I was swimming every single day. Daryl and Andreas will tell you, Pierre, close your mouth. Pierre, your butt's dipping. So I was swimming every single day. September 13th of this year was the first time that I was there to do the crawl stroke and go 100 meters back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, that may not mean anything to some people, but I'm planning for an ocean swim and a triathlon event. And I needed a place that I could practice. So I went to the Campbell pool every single day. And I still go there every single, well, my tendonitis is acting up now because I was swimming every single day. So my shoulder was bothering me. But what I'm saying, the reason I'm mentioning this is because the fact that this diocese got together and made sure that that pool was redone, this Marine thanks you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying that.
Yep.
Before Mr. Miller comes, I'd just like to add to Mr. Lewis, the spark for the family from Midtown was they came and they saw the seafood festival and saw what could be done on Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. That sparked the fire.
Our final speaker tonight is Stephen Miller.
Steve Miller, 383
And
Walnut.
before you start, Steve, that's not, I know everyone, it's a light. That round thing in the middle is the mic.
Thank you for
Okay.
thank you for educating me and understanding. You know,
We got educated tonight too.
great, good. Man, we're making all kind of progress right here. My name is Steve Miller. I reside at 383 Walnut Street. I also have a small tax practice at 839 George W. Ingram Boulevard. Dog, it's a lot of things I wanted to mention. But man, thank you for the book giveaway. I made it there, and it was late when I got there. But I saw this little kid, and I asked him, why do you have so many books? He said, because I'm going to have a library. And I went, whoa. You know, talking about history, there was a time when you couldn't teach a black person how to read. The fine was $100 and 39 lashes with a whip. I heard tonight that about the seniors program, and man, that's senior prom. I'm really happy to see that. But you know, I was thinking about something. The majority of groups in this community are seniors, and they're growing every day. I would love this, and you talked about what we can do, and everybody's begging for money for them. Why don't we create a line budget and support a senior program, a senior board, so that they can begin to have programs that are going to help probably, I think, one of the neediest individuals in our community. And I also thought about the property and the money that we have for housing. Man, you know, after the great Republican Party helped stop the spread of slavery in the United States, and they stopped lynching, they passed the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment to the Constitution. They tried to give some land to black folks who were slaves, but it was repealed by the Supreme Court. In fact, Dred Scott decision said that a black man has no rights that a white man is bound to respect, and it's still on the books. And we didn't get the 40 acres and a mule, and I'm thinking, you know, we give away some properties in the city. Why not give it to some of the residents in our community with the commitment that they have to build on it within so many years? And with this money we have, it can help with the down payment. I went to the housing assistance program the other day, and $250,000 home, which is really, they call it low-mod housing, is $9,000 for the down payment. And if we could help them with the taxes, like we help a lot of these rich people, these people can have homes. And even though we can't give them 40 acres and a mule, we can give them some of the property that we have that's we're not getting tax dollars for, and we want to build the neighborhood. Just a suggestion. And I want to commend Ken Thomas too. Midtown really looking better. City manager, you delivering on the promise. I have to finish this another day, but it looks better.
Thank you, sir. That was our final speaker.
All right. Daytona Beach, despite what we've been through and where we've been and how things look in the past, our future is bright. Let's go and move ahead together. Good night.